is the #1 manifesting course in the world. I'm sure you've seen it all over YouTube and Instagram. I'm the author of the #2 manifesting course in the world right now. It was #1 before, and that is Silva Ultramind with Jose Silva. And joining us will also be two really remarkable spiritual leaders, Marie Diamond, who is just a walking saint, one of the most remarkable people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Marie last year was the single highest rated author on Mindvalley stage talks all over the world. And Sonia Choquette. Sonia Choquette is the author of over 26 books on human intuition and the world's leading expert on intuition. And so it's going to be a really fun 3 hours, and I'm excited to have all of you here. Now, there are approximately 4,400 of you and a lot more tuning in. So I'm going to give you an idea of how the agenda is going to flow. I'm going to go straight into training, okay? Straight up into a presentation. And what I'm going to teach you is a model that I put together to help you move faster towards manifesting whatever it is that you want. Perhaps for you, what you're really feeling that's missing in your life right now is love, or perhaps it is better health. Perhaps you're craving to break some sort of ceiling that's holding you back from more money. Now, right now, I want you to think about one thing in your life, one thing that if you could manifest it in the next 6 months, it will completely transform your life. Now, the beauty about these one things is I don't want you to pick something outlandishly big. I want you to pick something that is believable, that you believe with the right training, with the right guidance, you could pull it off with the right mentors. Because the trick about it is a large chunk of this ability for our mind to create our reality also relies on our belief system. When we believe it is possible, it becomes possible. And every little thing that we manifest, when we acknowledge it, we accept it with gratitude, and we go, wow, I did that. We increase our energetic ability to bring in more and more and more. So firstly, I'm sure many of you know who I am, so I'm going to skip the introduction. And I'm excited to have all of you here tuning in from all around the world. And I'm so grateful that you guys chose to spend your Sunday with me. So let's get started. What you're seeing over here is highlights from our recent Manifesting Summit in Miami. This was such a beautiful event. We had over 1,000 people. It sold out in record time. We had over 1,000 people over there live in our event venue. And then we had something like 9,000 people who paid to attend virtually. So this was close to 10,000 people. The energy was exhilarating, and it ended up being one of our highest rated events. We had our entire event division in Mindvalley really disrupted because of COVID. And so we're still slowly building that back. You can imagine for COVID, 2.5 years, we had to stop events. And so we are slowly building this back. And this was probably one of our first big events we did in the United States post-COVID. We had so many incredible people over there. And when at Mindvalley events, we like to break the barrier between the teachers and the audience, right? So many people bought a VIP ticket, and that VIP ticket meant that on Saturday night, day one of the event, we all hung out together. I brought in my close friend, Sammy Taggart, who's a DJ, to DJ this dance party. We had 500 people over there, and our speakers are there. Not just speakers who were speaking at the event, but even like just guest Mindvalley authors like Eric Edmeades, who comes to hang out. Many of you might have noticed Marie Diamond, the spiritual teacher, dancing on the dance floor. So Marie, and really fascinating story about her, Marie is a former champion dancer. So when you attend a Mindvalley party, Marie tears up the dance floor. She doesn't just inspire you, she knows how to move. And it was really nice to be able to meet and greet and sign books. I never say no to a photo. And I'm really honored to have met all of you guys. Now, we're going to go into the presentation, and I know it's 3 hours, so we like to give you a little ethical bribe because we want you to invest these 3 hours. I promise you it's going to be jam-packed with content. So if you stay till the end, my co-host, Reagan Hillier, whom I'll be introducing shortly, is going to make available for you a product that she's actually selling on her website for $97. It's called Higher Self Activation. And this is a way to activate within your higher self that image, that identity of who you want to be, to put that in your higher self so that you create ripples to move you towards that in reality. So what we do is at the end of this event, we check the Zoom list. We see who are the people who stayed till the end. Zoom allows us to check on that, and then you will automatically get an email with a link to this. Okay, you don't have to do anything. You will just get an email. This is just our way of saying thank you for investing time, spending 3 hours with us. All right, now let's go straight into the training. What we're going to talk about today is what I have commonly called in my books bending reality. See, I'm not a big fan of the word manifesting. The reason is because so many people believe that manifesting is woo-woo garbage. It's an excuse to think that if I just visualize and visualize, it's going to come to me. Now, we all know that's not true. There's a formula for it, right? But a lot of people criticize manifesting as encouraging lazy behavior, that I can just command whatever I want. Nothing could be further from the truth. What we are talking about here is a greater concept. And I'm going to break it down into 9 steps, which I'm going to teach you right now. I call this concept bending reality. Now, I started using this word bending reality in my talks and lectures in 2008, 2007. And when Walter Isaacson wrote the biography of Steve Jobs, I was really surprised to see that in that biography, Isaacson spoke about Jobs in a similar way. The word bending reality or bend reality appeared in that biography 3 times. Isaacson said Jobs, who was a very deeply spiritual man, he had this ability to almost influence reality. He went on to build the most valuable company in the world. He went on to change our lives. I'm, for example, speaking to you right now on my MacBook from Apple. But Jobs was a deeply spiritual man. You've heard the stories about how he traveled to India to study in ashrams. He slept in ditches. He was a big devotee of Paramahansa Yogananda. In fact, at Steve Jobs' funeral, everyone who attended was given a little tote bag. And in that bag was one book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And that book is essentially a book by Paramahansa Yogananda, and it speaks about adventures in manifesting. It speaks about how Yogananda says that the world, as the ancient Hindus called it in Sanskrit, is Maya, or an illusion, and that we are particles of God and we have power over this world, and all of us have that power. We simply forget how to use it. But when we can wake up to remembering how to use this power, life becomes so much easier. And let's talk about that. Easier. I've had the benefit of working with many spiritual teachers, right? And I believe that spirituality is this. If you could learn one thing, it's the ability to create. The greatest achievement in life is to have the ability to create the world around you so that it matches the dreams in your mind. You decide how you want life to unfold, and the right synchronicities, the right coincidences, the right energy fills your body, the right insights, the right people come your way. This is inexplicable. We can't explain it by science, but I know it's real. Now, I've had debates. I even had a private debate with Neil deGrasse Tyson once on intuition, and he says, nah, it doesn't work. It's garbage. No, I can't believe people believe that stuff. But Neil is wrong. And why I say he is wrong is because if you actually look at the scientific literature, there's a beautiful book on this called Conscious Universe by Dean Radin, PhD. It says that there are 4 things about the human experience that we cannot explain. Okay, now I grew up in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now that's Kuala Lumpur today. I grew up there. I was born in the 1970s. I grew up in a house on the edge of a jungle. Kuala Lumpur was the city that emerged in the jungle. And growing up in these non-Western cultures, we witness this all the time. Like I literally grew up in a house where I have memories of my grandmother battling monkeys who would invade our backyard. I had my pet snake was eaten alive by a python. That is the type of culture I grew up in. Can you imagine that? But I also witnessed some crazy things in Malaysia. So again, what are the 4 things that science has been able to observe but cannot explain? The first is past lives. The second is mind-body healing. The third is intuition and premonition. And the fourth is subtle impact of mind over matter, like people bending spoons, people being able to move a light aluminum foil on a pinwheel. Science can't explain this, but we know it's there, and the evidence is overwhelming. For example, in one book, Executive ESP, right? Dr. Mihalaski of the Newark College of Engineering proved that CEOs who score well on intuition test also tend to have a higher correlation with profit increase in their company. Now, look at Steve Jobs. Isaacson said about Jobs, Jobs believed in prana, or an intuitive understanding of the world. Jobs was one of those CEOs. In fact, in his Stanford commencement address, he famously said, trust your heart and intuition. They somehow already know who you are to become. So, yes, we are studying all of these things, but we cannot say that just because science cannot completely explain it, it's not real. That's a lousy way of living. I'm open to this because of something that happened to me when I was 9 years old. So my father had a little company in Malaysia, and so he would import clothing from India, and then he would distribute this clothing to department stores in Malaysia. And he had a buyer who ordered around $5,000 worth of supplies, and that buyer couldn't sell it and therefore couldn't pay my dad. Now, $5,000 for my family. I didn't grow up in a rich family. My dad had a small business. My mom was a public school teacher. Very humble beginnings. 5,000 was a lot, and my dad was so depressed. But he had a business partner who was a Chinese Buddhist lady, and she said, "Don't worry, I know a man who can help us. We're gonna see him. He is a Buddhist monk." So my dad said, "Okay, all right, let's see where this goes." So my dad brought me along. It was around 8 p.m. and we drove to this old shop somewhere in Kuala Lumpur, right? And there's this man there, and he doesn't advertise or anything, but the locals know who he is. He's an ordinary shopkeeper, but he has these wooden beads. And when he puts these beads around his neck, he claims that he gets possessed by the spirit of a 13th century Buddhist monk. And his expressions change, his voice changes. He goes into this like weird emotional state, happy, but also like super confident and cocky, and he helps people. Now, here's the funny thing. He doesn't take any money for it. Apparently, this Buddhist monk loves modern alcohol. So you come with an offering of liquor. So my dad, I can't remember if it was tequila or if it was really good Smirnoff vodka, but my dad came with this offering. We give it to this guy, this Chinese guy, who is now has the beads around him. He downs the entire bottle, and there were like 3 people before. So now he's downed 3 different bottles of various intoxicating liquids. And he goes into a state and he tells my dad, your problem will go away. And he gives my dad some incense sticks and he says, go and burn these incense sticks. And my dad goes, puts the incense on the altar, burns these incense sticks. And my dad notices something really interesting, right? As the incense is burning, a 4-digit number appears on the incense stick. Now, in Malaysia back then, there was a 4-digit lottery. My dad had been buying it, hoping to win. He had never won. But he went and he bought those numbers that he saw, and he won exactly the amount he needed. And then it turned out, just as a bonus, the guy who owed him money ended up paying him back. So I grew up witnessing these things. I've witnessed Hindu priests and monks do incredible things like poke knives and spears through their body and in their devotion to God and not bleed. I've witnessed materializations. If you grow up in India, in China, in these cultures where Western civilization hasn't saying, if you cannot explain it, it is rubbish, then you still witness this. And I'm actually saddened so much in the world today that so much of these ideas are slowly disappearing. So what I wanted to do when I grew up, this thing fascinated me. So I went on at the age of 14, I started studying the Silva method. Okay, so some people are saying they want to see me again. So I'm going to stop the slides. I'm going to go on. So I went on to study the Silva method. I went on to also go ahead and interview over 1,000 experts as I built up Mindvalley. I went on to become the face of the Silva method. I studied all of the greats, and using my brain as an engineer, I decided to put patterns together. Now, this is what I believe is the map of the manifesting mindset. And this is what we're going to go through. Okay. You guys ready for this? Now we're going to go super fast. Okay. Because remember, this is a highlights webinar. We don't get to cover everything that we covered in our seminar. People paid good money for that seminar. This one, we're making it free, but we only have 3 hours. So I'm going to go super fast. So I want you to just absorb. If you get, I'm going to make 9 different points here. If you just absorb 1 or 2 or 3, that's still a win. If you absorb all 9 because you have a genius brain, even better. You guys ready to go? All right. If you want, have a pen and a paper ready. So first idea of the manifesting mindset is from Neil Donald Walsh. Now, Neil says, we actually create through our body, our mind, and our spirit. When your choices conflict, when body, mind, and spirit are not acting as one, the process of creation works at all levels, producing mixed results. If, on the other hand, if your being is in harmony and your choices are unified, astonishing things can happen. So we're going to look at manifesting from the perspective of mind, body, and soul or spirit. Okay, so let's start with the mind. Now, the first row over here, the mind, you'll notice I've added 3 words: desire, belief, expectancy. This is the formula that the great Jose Silva, I am the protege of Jose Silva's work. So his family asked me, Silva died in 1999, and his family asked me to carry on his work. So the official Silva programs now sit on Mindvalley, and I feel so honored for that. Jose Silva was a Mexican-American radio repairman living in Laredo, Texas. And these pictures were taken like in the 1920s. But fascinated by, he joined the US Army, and he was fascinated by the psychological test that he had to go through in the Army. And this got him really obsessed with psychology and hypnotism. Now, he had 10 kids, and his kids were not doing well in school. And he decided, I'm going to hypnotize my kids to teach them to be better at school. So he would teach his kids to lower their brainwave frequency and go into what is called the alpha level, right? And then he would read them important facts from their, say, school history book. Then while at the alpha level, he would ask them to recall facts, and he found that they were able to remember better and recall better. And this was a big win. Grades started going up, but then something bizarre happened. So Jose had a daughter called Isabella. I had the honor of meeting her a couple of years ago. Isabella, when she would go to the alpha level, as Jose was about to think about the question in his head, so in his mind, he would say, okay, I'm going to ask her, who's the 16th president of the United States? Before he could vocalize it, she would answer Abraham Lincoln. It was as if she knew what he was going to ask. So he was like, what did I do? Now, he was a devout Catholic Christian. He's like, am I playing with the devil's work here? What the hell is going on? So he knew Duke University was doing research in intuition. He wrote to the university and he said, I think I just trained my daughter to be psychic. J.B. Ryan, the professor, said, nope. Certain people display that, but you cannot train people for it. Jose disagreed. He went on to create the Silva method, and he ended up training something along the lines of 10 million people. He started a revolution. Wayne Dyer said, anything with the name of Jose Silva as the author has my vote before I open the page 1. I started with Silva method. Christy Marie Sheldon started with Silva method. Wayne Dyer, Shakti Gawain, Deepak Chopra, all of them. Silva method was one of the original things that they did, right? Now, if you're a Mindvalley member, you have access to the official Silva Ultramind System program. So no worries, it's already part of your membership. It is in Mindvalley. I hope you guys check it out. But here's what Silva found when it came to manifesting. So Silva method teaches you 3 things, right? Intuition. It teaches you how to understand what you want, then how to move towards it, and then it teaches you healing. But for all of these 3 things, Silva said, were essential. Desire, belief, expectancy. And if you do not have desire, belief, expectancy in the right way, you will fail. If you're missing just one, you will fail. So let's look at the first 3 points. This is the mental, the mind aspect of manifesting. Desire, belief, expectancy. All right, now we're going to start with the first one, desire. When I was 17, I had my first big experience with the Silva method. I really desired to heal my skin. I had bad acne. I was being bullied in school, and I had very low self-esteem. Now, I read in one of Jose's books, I literally read every single book by that man. And in one of his books, he mentioned something really interesting. He said, the skin is the organ with the the easiest ability to influence with the mind. And then he was teaching a visualization protocol, which teaches you how to heal your skin. I had skin disease for 5 years. I remember my mom taking me to doctors. I remember painful injections in my face. I remember being bullied in the lunch line. I remember just being so insecure as a child. In 5 weeks, I healed my skin. And it took 3 minutes a day, 3 times a day. So 9 minutes a day for 5 weeks, I healed my skin. This was the perfect example of desire, belief, and expectancy. Now I want to explain, okay, how that process worked. So now we're going to go into the mind. First thing is desire. One of the biggest reasons we don't manifest what we want is because we do not have sufficient desire. Paulo Coelho said, there's one great truth on this planet. Whoever you are, or whatever it is that you do, when you really want something, it is because that desire originated within the soul of the universe. The soul of the universe is nourished by people's happiness. If you want something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it. If you look at the deep spiritual writings of Coelho, of Neil Donald Walsh, of Abraham Hicks, all of them say one thing: desire is good. Desire is holy. Desire is aligned with God. But what do we learn? We learn that to be spiritual, we must push away desire. We must resign from the world. That's not true. It is so not true. Look at the great Ken Wilber wrote an essay on this. The great spiritual sages of the world were not feeble-minded milquetoast. They were movers and shakers who rattled the world with the force of their ego, from Jesus bringing a bullwhip to the temple, to Muhammad conquering entire continents. They created revolutions that shook the planet. And they did this by amplifying their ego, by going beyond, not ego-less, but ego plus. So desire is important. If you've ever been told that money is wrong, that to desire wealth, or to desire happiness, or to desire, being able to just experience a business class ticket is wrong, you are actually punishing your soul. So the great myth of spirituality, the first thing I want you guys to do is to understand that desire is good. In Conversations with God, Neil says this: do not waste precious moments of your present reality seeking to unveil all of life's secrets. The secrets are secrets for a reason. Grant your God the benefit of the doubt. Use your now moment for the highest purpose, the creation and expression of who you really are. Decide who you are, who you want to be, and do everything in your power to be that. By the way, I see people are asking if they can see me. Ramya, is it possible to show me and the slides at the same time? Thank you to the Zoom administrators. Now, this is simple enough, but let's go further, right? I want you to observe this passage that I'm about to share with you and tell me if this triggers you. In Conversations with God, Neil goes on to say, practice saying this 10 times each day. I love sex. I love money. Now, you want to get really tough? Try this. I love me. Here are some other things you're not supposed to love. Practice loving them. I love power. I love glory. I love fame. I love success. I love winning. I love the adulation of others. I love being better. I love having more. I love knowing more. I love knowing why. Had enough? Wait, here's the ultimate guilt. You should feel the ultimate guilt if you feel that I know God. Isn't that interesting? All through your life, you have been made to feel guilty about the things you want most. Put a yes if you agree. Put a yes in the chat if you have been made guilty, deliberately or culturally, for loving these things. See, every single person. How many of you have been told that sex is wrong, that desiring money is bad, that being rich is going to make you an asshole, that being famous, no, that means you're all about yourself. But Neil goes on, right? Neil says, so choose sex, choose all the sex you can get, and choose power, all the power you can master, and choose fame, and choose winning, all the winning you can experience. Yet do not choose sex instead of love, but as a celebration of it. Do not choose power over others, but power with others. Do not choose fame for glory, but fame so you can use your fame for good. Everything done within the context of understanding that we are all particles of God and we are God expressing itself. That is spirituality. And this is why desire is one of the key elements of manifesting. The first step is you must eradicate all the guilt around desire. And now we come to belief. Okay, so this is the second thing, right? Where our cultural programming messes us up. Michael Beckwith, who was one of the speakers at our event, says, the world as you see it is an artifact of a previously held point of view. Your eyes are always looking at the past. In other words, we believe we are who we are because of our past. We forget we are fucking particles of God in a human body, and that our desires are aligned with the desires of the universe itself. As Coelho said, that which you want, the universe wants for you. Now, this is how powerful, okay, belief is. New York Times carried this article called The Placebo Prescription. It was about a doctor called J.B. Moseley. Now, at that point, we know that placebos, which are fake pills, could help you heal a headache, could help you heal a cold. J.B. Moseley wanted to say, could the power of belief actually help with surgery that requires, invasive surgery? So he did an experiment with 10 veterans. These are ex-US military guys. These were elderly men in their 50s, 60s who were suffering from arthritis of the knee. He put all 10 of them under anesthesia. 2 of them basically got the surgery. 8 had what was called a fake surgery. They made an incision in their knee. They sewed it up, bandaged it. So when they woke up, they could feel some stiffness. They could see some pain. They knew that they thought they had gone through the actual surgery. But at the end of 2 months, all of them had recovered from arthritis of the knee. Isn't that crazy? This experiment shook up the medical establishment because it proved that the power of belief can even cure you of things that require surgery. Today, when we had Manifesting Summit, our host, Caitlin, she'd been diagnosed with ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and a brain tumor. She healed all of it using the power of her mind. Her story is amazing. Today, we know that our mind is so powerful, things that require huge amounts of, that we thought previously could only be cured or would condemn us to a terminal illness, people are recovering from it. Now, of course, this doesn't mean don't trust your doctor. Work with your doctor, but know that your mind and modern medicine together can work miracles. So what prevents us from believing that we can achieve what we want? Well, a lot of it is our history, right? Remember, your beliefs are not you. Your beliefs possess you. Every little thing from your cultural story. I grew up in a culture in Malaysia where it's not always, success is not always celebrated. We were a developing country. The idea that one could get wealthy, one could get Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, Roshan, we can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know what happened. How long ago did you lose me?
Just a minute.
A minute. Okay. So Jose Silva said, you got to train your belief, okay? Your belief of what is possible. Don't try to heal don't try to heal cancer before you can heal your dandruff. But every little success that you have in manifesting expands your reservoir of faith and allows you to manifest more and more. So now the third ingredient is expectancy. So you have desire. Desire is also involves the removal of any type of guilt towards that which you want. You have the belief that it's possible. Now you have to expect it to happen. Expectancy is tricky. Expectancy comes from practice, it comes from training, and it comes from faith. Expectancy is this feeling that you just know that it's coming to you. And therefore, okay, so here's a big secret. Many people ask me, if I'm trying to visualize this particular project going well or visualize this healing, how often should I do it? And I say, do it. You can do it 100 times. You can do it 1 time. Here's the secret. If you do it 1 time and you expect it to happen, you don't have to do it again. It's all about expectancy. It's not just visualizing. It is when you emerge from that visualizing, how confident are you that it's coming your way? So that expectancy, you expect it to happen, and you just trust. Faith is what makes that magic happen. So desire, belief, expectancy. Okay, so that's the mind. Now let's look at the body. So in the body, there are three things: choice, emotion, and action. Now here's the important thing. Choice relates to desire. Choice is about choosing the right desire. Emotion relates to belief. When you have the right emotion, when you believe something is happening, is going to come to you, when you believe in yourself, you have the right emotion. And action leads to expectancy. This is something that people forget. You want to expect that your business is going to be successful? Don't just sit in your butt. Get out there, study everything you need to do, take those risks, find the right people, take action on your business. So choice leads to desire, emotion leads to belief, action leads to expectancy. Let's explore that. Okay, choice. Abraham Hicks says this: the most valuable skill that you could develop in the skill of is directing your thoughts towards what you want to be, adapted quickly, evaluating all situations, and then quickly coming to the conclusion of what you most want, and then giving your undivided attention to that. Now, this is a channeled work. I'm sure you guys have heard of Esther Hicks. She channels this being called Abraham, who is a spiritual entity that gives advice to mankind, humankind. And what Abraham says is the most important thing, being in our human body, is to look at all the majesty of the world and decide, I want that. Esther Hicks uses the word shoot out rockets of desire. Decide what you want, commit to it. And that is where choice comes from. We'll be bringing on, Neil Donald Walsh says something similar. When he asked God, why does it take so much time for me to create the reality I choose? God says this: for a number of reasons, because you do not believe you can have what you choose. See, we spoke about belief. Because you do not know what to choose, because you keep trying to figure out what's best for you, because you want guarantees ahead of time that your choices will be good, and because you keep changing your mind. God says, make a freaking choice and stick to it. Does that resonate with you? Now, we're going to bring on Sonia Choquette later on, okay? And Sonia's going to teach you a simple, I know making a decision can be hard, but she's going to teach you a simple protocol to tap into your intuition so you make the right choice. This is the secret, Neil says, of all great masters. The secret of all great masters is to stop changing one's mind. Keep choosing the same thing. Keep choosing the same thing. There's a time gap between what we decide and what we manifest. When we are constantly changing our mind, I want to go to the Maldives. Nah, I don't know, too far. Maybe I'll go to Egypt instead. We disrupt our manifesting. Make a freaking choice. This is why Lifebook is so effective. When you do Lifebook, you commit to making choices of what you want in all 12 areas of your life. So you have balance and you have choice. Okay, feel free to take a screenshot of that. These are the 12 areas that we believe are the 12 areas one needs to look at to be holistic. Okay, so we've done choice. Now let's go on to emotion. Again, here I want to bring in an idea from Esther Hicks. Esther Hicks, in her book, The Astonishing Power of Emotions, and by the way, Esther Hicks was the woman whose work inspired the movie The Secret. When she channeled Abraham Hicks, the spiritual entity said, I've given you, I meaning the energies of God, of nature, I've given you a way to know when your mind is creating good and to know when your mind is creating bad. And that is emotion. When you feel emotions of joy, emotions of gratitude, emotions of love, you are creating good. You are moving towards the fullest expression of your highest self. When you feel worry, when you feel regret, when you feel dread, when you feel jealousy, when you feel anger, you are creating things that you are not going to want. You are creating negative reality. She explains it this way. She says, your emotion is a guidance mechanism. And the more elevated your emotions, it's like, yes, 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 I'm manifesting that which is in alignment with me. And when your emotions are low, it's a warning system. It's like the fire alarm going off. The fire alarm going, something is off, something is off, something is off. So what you got to do, you got to learn to climb the emotional scale. This is an example of the scale. In our deeper manifesting programs, we teach you these concepts, but you got to learn to elevate the emotional scale, to go from anger to righteous anger to action, right? To go from fear to hope to delight to gratitude. When you learn to climb the emotional scale, you learn to amplify your manifesting. But I want you to keep this in mind. Every time you feel bad, you are actually attracting that which you are not going to want. Every time you feel good, you are attracting amazing things. I once sat down with the great mathematician and spiritual philosopher um, from Robert Grant from the Gaia television series. And I asked him, we were walking through Egypt 2 months ago, and I said, Robert, what do you think is, if one could build a technology for manifesting, what do you think it is? And he goes, Vision, the technology already exists. It is gratitude. It is to feel so grateful for everything that you have right now, to be in that state of perpetual joy. That's the technology for manifesting. Okay? This poem kind of gives evidence to that. This was written by the wealthiest man who ever existed, John D. Rockefeller. He wrote it at the age of 86. Now observe Rockefeller's words. I was early taught to work as well as play. My life has been one long happy holiday, full of work, full of play. I dropped the worry on the way, and God was good to me every day. You'll notice that every single message I mentioned is in this poem. Action, work as well as play. My life has been one long happy holiday, happiness, emotion, full of work and full of play. I dropped the worry along the way. You too can learn to drop the worry. And God was good to me every day. Worry starts diminishing the better you train your manifesting skills, because you start developing your degrees of hope and expectancy. So the paradox of intention is this: you must have goals, but your happiness cannot be tied to these goals. You must be happy before you attain them. If you can create gratitude and happiness towards your goals before the goals come to you, what happens is you move to them much faster. And moving to them, this is where action comes in. So many of you may have noticed this lady in the audience in Miami. So Serena Williams was defeated in September 2019 by this young 19-year-old Romanian girl, Bianca Andreescu. Bianca is a student of Mindvalley. She had attended one of my workshops on manifesting in Toronto back when I did that thing. And she was 16 years old. And she went back and she started visualizing and visualizing and visualizing herself winning the US Open. Now, of course, she took action. She was on the tennis court. She was practicing. She was playing. But she kept visualizing, feeling that energy, knowing that she could beat Serena. She went on to beat Serena Williams. And then she jumped over the net and she went to apologize to Serena. She's like, you're my hero, and I'm so sorry I defeated you. And the press was fascinated. So the press go to her and they said, who are you? And where do you get this positivity? And she goes, where's my phone? Where's my phone? She opens up her phone and she shares my book. And this was the highest honor I could ever receive. So you may have noticed her in the audience. That was her. She was in Miami. One of my, I've had millions of students, but definitely one of the most powerful stories I've heard of how the power of visualization and taking action can really help. So remember, you want to visualize winning, but you got to be in the court. You got to be in the court. You got to be playing the game. And as you do that, you create expectancy. So that's where your body comes in: choice, emotion, action. Now we come to the final part, which is the soul. Okay, so this part, I'm going to go really fast because I want to give time to Reagan, to Sonia, to Marie. Neil says this: remember, we are three-part beings: body, mind, and soul. Most of us spend our time with our body and our mind, very little time with the soul. And I bet this is true for all of you. So how do you integrate with your soul? First thing to understand is this: we live in a monophasic society. Monophasic meaning our modern society tells us that we operate simply in the waking state. But Eastern and indigenous cultures were polyphasic. They go into different states of being. Jose Silva called these states alpha, theta, delta. I've traveled a lot. I've experienced these in many different ways. So I have a tradition. My children, when they are 4 years old, we go and live with the Achuwa tribe in the Amazon rainforest. This is a dream tribe. And I do this because I want my children to see other cultures, especially cultures like this, which have no modern possessions except maybe like a t-shirt. Now, the Achuwa have this really fascinating practice. Firstly, they were discovered in 1979. Before 1979, we didn't know they exist. But the Achuwa tribe, they communicate with each other in their dreams. They basically, in their dream state, across vast expanses of rainforests communicate with each other, warn each other of loggers, warn each other of dangers. They wake up at 4 a.m., they gather around a campfire, and they discuss what messages came to us in our dream from our neighboring tribe, which might be like 100-day walk. It's fascinating. These dream cultures existed everywhere. It turns out that if you look back at ancient cultures, Hindu culture, Buddhist culture, Chinese culture, Gnostic Christianity, ancient Egyptian culture, ancient Greek culture, all of these cultures embrace the spiritual side, but we've started to lose it. Erica Bourguignon, who's an anthropologist, said Western civilization is facing a loss of perceptual diversity. Perceptual diversity means we're not just perceiving the world from our eyes and our ears and our smell and our taste, we're perceiving it from our subtler senses. And it's devastating. We must be open to this again. And this means intuition. This means being able to tap into the feelings that we get when we go into these altered states. Okay, so one of the things that I teach through the Silva method is how to go from the waking frequency to alpha and theta. We won't have time to teach you the protocol here. If you want to go train it yourself, the 18-hour Silva Ultramind program is part of Mindvalley membership, but I do this regularly. I go into alpha, theta to source ideas, to source speeches, to source talks. I go into alpha to heal my body, to manifest really powerful stuff. Now, this is where insight comes in. When you're able to tap into these altered states, insight, intuition can impact you. Richard Bach, anyone of you heard of this book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull? I want to show you how powerful insight can be. So Jonathan Livingston Seagull was one of the most popular books of the 1960s, so much so that Richard Bach made the cover of Time magazine. What people don't know is that the manuscript was sitting in his basement unfinished for 5 years. And then he took a Silva class and he learned to tap into the alpha level of mind. And he had the vision for the closing chapter of the book. That's his actual quote in Harper's Bazaar magazine, crediting Silva. And I validated this, by the way, with his daughter, Gauri, who's alive today. And he said, I saw the closing chapter. It just came to me in this flash of insight. He completed the book, and it went on to become one of the most amazing books of his generation, putting him in the cover of Time magazine. Such is the power of insight. So insight is one. We won't talk much into it, but I'm going to bring on Sonia Choquette to teach you how to tap into insight and intuition. Next is visualization. Visualization is there are basic ways to do it. There are super advanced ways to do it. Reagan teaches super advanced ways to do it, but I want to show you how powerful this can be. Dr. Okal Simonton was a collaborator of Jose Silva. So what he did was he brought Silva's visualization system, they called it imagery therapy, to cancer patients. He taught the system to 159 patients with incurable cancer, whose expected survival rate was 12 months. 4 years later, 63 were alive. 14 showed no signs of cancer. 12 had cancer regressing, and 17 was stable. The average survival time of the group doubled. How crazy is that? Now, if people who have been given 12 months to live, now not all of them, remember, not all of them, right, had results. 63 were able to survive 4 years later. 14 had their cancer completely vanish. All of them were doing creative visualization. But I believe if we could fine-tune the other patterns around it, the desire, the belief, the expectancy, the intuition, the choice, the action, then we could see even better results. But this, again, this scientific study shows you how powerful the mind can be. Simonton said about the Silva system, I would say this is the most powerful single tool that I have to offer patients. Now, all of this is happening because of going into these altered states. So when we talk about soul, very often it's fluffy, but I don't want it to be fluffy. It's about going into altered states, reducing your brainwave frequency, and tapping into that part of you that is beyond conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Now, the final part of soul is identity. And identity is this. Michael Beckwith says this. So this quote, this discussion between me and Michael Beckwith went viral on the internet when I shared it. We were having breakfast together in 2019. And I said, Michael, it's been 20 years since the movie The Secret came out. 20 years, 2 decades. Is there anything that you would say you'd want to update if you were interviewed about the movie right now? And Beckwith said, absolutely. I would say the law of attraction is bunk. Instead, what people need to learn is the law of resonance. I asked him, what is that? And he says this, The universe will not give you what you want. Rather, it will reflect back to you who you already are. If you say, I want something, the universe looks at you and goes, yep, you want it, got it. You're going to give you that feeling of wanting. But if you can resonate, if you can be that which you want, magic happens. We see this idea everywhere, the law of resonance. Neil says this, whatever you choose for yourself, the best way to be that which you want, whatever you choose for yourself, give to another. You choose to be happy, cause another to be happy. You choose to be prosperous, cause another to prosper. If you choose more love in your life, cause another to have more love in theirs. Do this sincerely, not because you seek personal gain, but because you really want the other person to have that. And all the things you give away will come to you because you cannot give away that which you don't already own. So I want to tell you a funny story, okay? Neil says this. He says, best way to attract abundance, if you have nothing more than $5 to your name. And I respect Neil that he can say that, because that man, Neil Donald Walsh, before he became a famous author, he was homeless. He was living in a tent in a park in Ashland, Oregon, homeless. And Neil says, if you have just $5 to your name, go to the bank, break it into $1 notes, keep 4 to yourself, take $1 and give it to someone who needs it. Give it to a homeless person. And he says, when you do that, you are activating that law of resonance. You are activating abundance. And that is what will bring you out of that feeling of lack. It's a powerful idea. I was in Dubai recently, and this is a really interesting story. So I met this guy in Dubai, and it was this big Arab sheikh with like gold chains and this crazy expensive watch. And he came to me. I just given a talk, and he came to me, and he had like the rock star rapper vibe. And we started talking about manifesting. And he goes, I love this idea of manifesting, and I want to tell you what I do. And I go, tell me. And he goes, you see this Louis Vuitton bag? He had this blue Louis Vuitton bag. And he goes, in this bag, and he opened it. He says, I have $250,000 pure cash, USD. I carry it with me wherever I go. I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, wherever I go, I carry $250,000 pure cash. And there was a judgmental part of me that goes, whoa, I don't like this guy. What the hell is he trying to prove? And then I realized I was judging. So I shut up and I listened. And what he explained was actually beautiful. He says, this represents abundance energy to me. If I go to a restaurant and I have an amazing meal and I want to just tip the waiter $500, I have it. When I carry this cash with me, I am abundant. Now, this man had gone on to be the #1 water park builder in the world. But he went on to share something else. And I go, wow, that is actually really freaking cool. I respect you for that. And I said, what else do you do for abundance? And he said, I give away 20% of everything I earn. 20%. 20% of everything he earns without publicizing it. He gives it to build schools in Africa and to build wells for villages in Africa. And that really touched my heart. You see, in the Muslim culture, there's this concept called zakat. And a good Muslim gives away 2.5% at minimum of everything that they earn to people who need it. This guy was giving away 20%. It touched my heart so much that that day itself, I committed to zakat. I committed that 10% of everything I earn, I'm going to give away. And so I now, immediately within 1 week, I wrote $100,000 check to help fund the education of poor village kids. And the funny thing that happened, guys, was this. It started coming back to me. And this guy told me this. He says, as soon as you do this, it'll come back to you tenfold. And it was amazing how my wealth consciousness changed just from giving money away. So I want to put this out there. The law of resonance. The universe doesn't give you what you want, but it'll reflect back to you who you are. You want money? Give money, because you're so abundant with money. You want love? Give love. So I hope you enjoyed these ideas. We went through a lot. You can follow me. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me at Vision. I'm honored to have all of you guys here. And we're now going to bring up our next speaker. Here's the quick map of manifesting again for you guys, so you can take a quick screenshot. This simple one pager will help you remember these ideas. And remember, I know it's a lot. If you got even one or two gems from here, that's a win. Please post in the chat your biggest idea. Okay? Your biggest idea. What was it for you? That one thing I said that maybe may have made a difference. Beautiful. Give what you have. Zakat. Law of resonance. Action. Soul, body, and mind need to be aligned. Thank you, guys. Okay, so now I'm going to bring up our next speaker, the remarkable Reagan Hillier. So, this woman needs no introduction, but I've seen few people pull off what this lady has pulled off. You've probably seen the intro, the intro documentary on YouTube that I have of her. She's been in the cover. She's not even 35. But what she's been able to pull off is ridiculous. She's been in the cover of multiple magazines. She's built a whole business empire. She's in the most amazing state of health. She has the most incredible dream relationship with her husband, Juanpa. They actually met at a Mindvalley event. She and her husband, Juanpa, just acquired 600 acres of land in Costa Rica. That was a dream. They manifested it, and they're building this whole beautiful world-class a spiritual center called the Nest. I've known Reagan since she was 23 years old. She attended a Mindvalley event 10 years ago. And in 10 years, I've never seen someone manifest that much. But also why I believe in her is because I once had her do a live class on manifesting for my mastermind students. And she was doing this from my apartment. We had a film crew there, and it was really funny. As she started radiating so much energy, I could feel as if I was away from her and I thought she was hugging me, but she wasn't. She was sitting like 10 feet away. And then I turned to the film crew, and one of our film crew members looked at me shocked. She's like, "What's going on?" Like I feel like all of my chakras are vibrating. It was Reagan just amplifying the energy of the room before she started teaching. So I teach in a very mental way, right? I teach formulas because I'm an engineer. Reagan teaches in a different way. Reagan will actually radiate energy that will touch your soul. And she is a true master of manifesting because she does it with precision every single time. Reagan, welcome back. Reagan, are you there? There we go.
Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Thank you so much, Vishen. That was amazing. Perfect. All right, guys, just type in a yes if you can see me okay and hear me loud and clear. Let's check all the tech is working. Looks like it is. Welcome. I am so honored and excited to be here. Wow. For those of you who were in Miami, you know what a portal was created. You know the energy that was in the room. And so it just felt so good and so aligned to now then open up this container and this space to go deep with all of you that couldn't join us in Miami. It is so great to have you guys here. So guys, I'm going to just pull up the slides over here. Give me 1 second and let's check. Oh, tech guys, we might need to enable the screen sharing in order to do that. Just let me know once that's done. And then I can share the screen over here. Let me just write to them here in case they can't hear me. Okay, hopefully that will turn on in just a second and we can have some beautiful slides. I want you guys to go ahead and type through what was your biggest takeaway from Vishen's presentation? What was your biggest takeaway, your biggest aha moment, your biggest breakthrough? We are going even deeper in this session. We're going to be talking about quantum alchemy. If we can get the slides up. Amazing. All right, guys, I see you. Law of resonance. Yes. Listening to your soul, alignment, altering your reality. Yes, 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 yes. Amazing. All right. Still can't have my slides up here. Let me just try and write to them over here.
We are making you
Oh, great. It looks like they're bringing it up. All right, perfect. Okay, guys. Well, whilst we're waiting for them to do that, I'm really excited once again to be here. Today, we're going to be going into a container talking about quantum alchemy and how you can specifically use quantum alchemy to completely shift and alter your manifestations. All right, let's see now. No, I'm going to just keep trying every couple of minutes to see if we can get this updated. But in the meantime,
Hi, Reagan.
as we go into this portal of quantum alchemy, we allow ourselves to remember that we are quantum beings having a quantum experience. Manifestation is not just something that happens from our mind. It's not something where we can just say a whole lot of affirmations and then have it show up in our reality. We are energetic beings having an energetic experience. And so I have a lot to share with you today. You know, we had a lot more time in Miami to go through this particular talk that I'm going to go in with you guys, but I want to go really fast. I want to throw you in the deep end with this. So make sure you take a lot of notes. Make sure you go really deep with this. And if there's something maybe that through the mind you don't fully understand, just know that Mindvalley has so many different other tools and resources and more advanced manifestation content to actually go deeper into this because we have such a short period of time today. Let's check. There we go. It looks like this is turning on right now. So guys, type in a yes if you can hopefully see the slides and see me and everything is working. There it is. Amazing. Look at that. We love it when the technology works. Amazing, guys. So quantum alchemy is around really allowing yourself, again, to remember that you're an energetic being having an energetic experience. Quantum alchemy is one of the greatest tools that you will have in your manifestation toolkit so that you can shift and alter your reality, so that you can manifest whatever it is that you're looking to call into your life with greater ease, greater flow, and greater precision. Quantum alchemy is having the capacity to play with time as a malleable concept, to play with time as one of the greatest tools in your toolkit to go, you know what? What if I wanted to bend the time? What if I wanted to loop the time? What if I wanted for the manifestation to show up at an even faster rate in a way where it was even easier than I ever thought was possible? Quantum alchemy is allowing yourself to maybe dilate the time and allow the time to shift and merge so that you can close the gap and accelerate that. Whilst you're doing this, you're able to split your perception. And we're going to be talking about all of these concepts today because quantum alchemy is allowing yourself to have a perception split in your own awareness so that you can actually focus on one or more manifestations at once in order to accelerate the process. And quantum alchemy is having the capacity to tap into some specific elements of quantum physics, like quantum entanglement, for example, so that you can understand these laws of science and actually apply them to manifestation. And when you do that, you start remembering that manifestation is not some woo-woo concept. It's not just, let me just be positive and everything will show up. No, it is a deep alchemical process and practice that when you have the right tools and the right techniques, you can go much deeper into in order to use these laws of physics to actually accelerate what you desire right here, right now. And quantum entanglement is allowing yourself to work across time and space in order to tap into different realms, realities, or dimensions in order to access a higher version of yourself, the version of you that has already manifested what you desire, the version of you that has already created that reality, so that you can access that version and fold that version of you into the now, so you can be that version, so you can walk and talk and think and act and be as that version. Quantum alchemy is this amazing toolkit that you have available to you right now that we're going to be peeling back the layers of and allowing you to actually go deeper and practice these pieces. Okay, so give me a yes if this feels like it's in resonance. Give me a yes if this feels exciting to go into today. And if you guys are ready with your notes to do this, yes, because when we start activating the tools of quantum alchemy, we allow ourselves to not just know the wisdom of manifestation, but to embody that wisdom. You see, when we know something just from our mind, yes, we might know it, we might be able to say it or repeat it, but are we embodying it? Are we actually living it from this frequency and this vibration? And when we are, we start altering and shifting our own unique resident frequency, which means that we start becoming an energetic match for some higher level manifestations that we're actually looking to call into our lives. Yes, guys, I see you and all of your comments and all of your beauty, and I feel your amazing energy. Thank you so much for being here. We are going deep into quantum alchemy, and I'm going to divide this up into some beautiful sections throughout this portal that we are going into today. We're going to have some amazing speakers. We're going to have Sonia come up after me, going into intuition and how to activate this at a deeper level. I will then come back on, and then we're going to have Marie Diamond come in. And she has some really beautiful pieces of this to share, and then another chunk of quantum alchemy. So it's a beautiful manifestation sandwich, if you like, as we go into this. So many of you know my story. Many of you know my story, and you've seen me on Mindvalley already, and you know that it was probably 12, 13 years ago now that I was completely broke. I was at university studying architecture, which I knew was not my purpose. I knew it wasn't the reason that my soul came here on this planet, but society was telling me, look, Regan, you're really good at it. You better work really hard at it. And so I did. And I was on that pathway, but I knew deep down that it just wasn't in alignment with the highest frequency of my soul. And I had a moment that many of you may have heard about where a lecturer got me to visualize my life as that architect 20 years out from that moment in time. And everyone in the room got very excited about their future. And I felt absolutely sick to my stomach. I had this moment where I got up and this voice just said deep in my soul, get out. And as I got out of that room, I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out, why am I here? And how do I get to create a life that I really, really, really love? And you see, this didn't start with a huge grand mission of I want to impact millions of people. No, it started with, how does Regan get to be happy? What am I here to do on this planet? And as I walked and stepped into those layers, I started stepping, as many of you guys know, and I started getting into the world of personal development and doing so many different courses and strategies and learning all of these different layers of education around how could I make money? How could I start a business? What does sales and marketing look like? What about real estate? What about cryptocurrency and Forex trading? And I started learning all these strategies, and nothing was working. Nothing was working until I had a mentor that said to me, Regan, you're missing the point. It's 80% an internal game, and then 20% any strategic action that you then take on the outside. And so when I started to unpack that 20%, when I started to really rediscover Regan from the inside out and condition Regan to succeed from the inner wirings of my soul, I started actually clicking everything into place. I went deep into the world of NLP, matrix energetics, hypnosis, so many other beautiful, powerful modalities. And when I started fusing that with the action that I was taking, my life started to change. And so some of the concepts and tools and practices which I'm going to share with you today is from going down that pathway, right? Is from going really deeply down and asking myself, how do I get to condition myself from the inside out to be of the highest frequency so that I can manifest what I desire? And guess what? I am still asking myself that question every single day. I have not arrived. I'm not at the end point. I have even bigger visions in my life right now. I have even bigger things that I'm looking to manifest. And I'm still asking myself, okay, how do I get to work on this 80% even deeper? How do I get to condition myself from the inside out to come into an even higher alignment of what I'm actually looking to call in? So in order to do that, I'm going to break you through some layers of quantum alchemy so that we can start breaking down these pieces and seeing these chunks of information so that you can practically use these pieces. Now, Vishen spoke really beautifully in the last section around desire. And I 100% agree with him that so many people tell you that desire is bad, especially if you're a spiritual person. You're not meant to have any desire. What are you talking about? Actually, I disagree fully, because desire is so important, like Vishen said. Desire is our soul speaking to us. And if we have a desire for something in our life, it means there's a version of ourselves out in the future that's already manifested that, that's already experienced that. And it's our soul whispering to us saying, hey, this would be really good. Hey, I think you would love this. But the question is, are we listening? Are we able to open up, expand, and listen, trust, and act to that guidance that is actually coming through us? Now, when we do this and we surrender into this, and we're coming from a place of surrendered manifestation, not manufactured manifestation where we're trying to join all the dots looking forward and it's got to happen this way if I push, if I hustle, if I try even harder. No, but when we actually open to receive our manifestations that are looking to come through us, when we surrender and allow the magic of the universe to co-create with us as we're listening, as we're stepping in alignment with the divine guidance, when we come from that space, all of a sudden we start tapping into a realm of high-level manifestation, because it's then not a question of, will my manifestation happen? No, it's a question of, when will it happen? You see, when people start out with manifestation, they go, oh, how do I make it happen? I don't know if it's going to happen. Will it happen? High-level manifestors say, well, I understand that it's already happened out there in my future because I have a desire for it. I can taste it, I can feel it, I can smell it, I desire it. And I know that that's my soul speaking to me from a future version of me that's already manifested that. So if I surrender to that, I remember it's already happened. And how do I get to speed up the process? So it's not a question of will it happen, it's a question of when will it happen. So let's unpack the when, because that's really what's more important, right? And if we start unpacking the when, we start realizing, okay, well, the biggest element we have to play with here is time. You see, two people might have the same manifestations. It might take one person 5 years to manifest that. And then there's people like you and I who are going deep into the realm and the tools of quantum manifestation, and maybe it takes them 6 months or 4 months or 3 months. And this is when you become the person who everyone turns around and says, how did you manifest your health to change so quickly like that? How did you make that amount of money so fast like that? How did you manifest your soulmate just in a couple of weeks like that? It's not how did you make it happen? It's how did that happen so quickly? And you sit there and you smile because you're using the time shift. You're playing with the element of time. You have this in your quantum alchemy toolkit, because you know that time is one of the greatest concepts that we have available to us. You see, time is an illusion. And you might say, well, if time's an illusion and it's not even real, then why do we even need it? I'm just going to pretend there is no time. I'm just going to function outside of time. Time's not important to me. No, time is one of the greatest tools you have in your toolkit if you understand how to use it. You see, the time is altering you or you are altering the time, but those two things can't be happening simultaneously. So if we start realizing that time is this malleable construct, time is like a rubber band, right? Where it can be stretched and pulled and played with. And if we understand from a quantum perspective that actually the past, the present, and the future maybe is happening simultaneously, then sure enough, you have access to all of that information simultaneously, which probably means that you could grab some information from your future and utilize it in a powerful way to not get stuck in the past, which we're going to go into today and break down a little bit more. You see, we live in this world of vibration. We live in this world of frequency. Light is a vibration. Colors are simply waves oscillating and vibrating at different frequencies. Sound is a vibration. Even objects that we perceive to be very solid and very still are actually vibrating. And time is vibrating. You are vibrating. Your manifestations out in your future are vibrating. All of this is information. All of this is simply just waves and informational patterns through the quantum field at the end of the day. You see, if we know that time is multidimensional and we are multidimensional because we're multidimensional beings having a multifaceted, multidimensional experience, and we realize that time in itself is a dimension, a structure, if you like, with an energy, that is actually only created through our own consciousness. It's only created through our own awareness. And as humans, we love to create the structure of time. Okay, give me my past, and now I have my now, and this is my future, and let me put it all in a box so I can perceive it a certain way. And yes, that's useful so that we can all actually show up at a certain time for this transmission and come together at one moment in time. But are we locked in those moments of time, or are we unlocking them in order to get ourselves out of the constructs of time? So our consciousness is creating time. And if that's the case, then our consciousness is also able to alter the time, bend the time, play with the time, which would mean that we're able to play with the time when it comes to having our manifestations show up even faster than what we expect. So when we get clear on our current perception of time, we begin to take our power back when it comes to manifestation. And we get to stand as an even more sovereign being of light and say, you know what? The world is not happening to me and I'm living in some kind of reaction. Instead, I am an intentional creator. I am a master manifester. I am not allowing the time to alter me, but instead I'm choosing to alter the time. Now, using the theory of relativity, we know that time can actually shift and alter depending on what's going on around us and also what state we're in. We're going to talk a little bit later today about emotional resonance and our unique vibrational frequency and how to change those things so that we can shift the time. But I feel that everyone's had this experience where, someone goes to, for example, a doctor's waiting room and they're really worried about something, and they're sitting there and they're a little stressed and they don't know what this answer is going to be, and there's something wrong, and all of a sudden the receptionist calls the person's name. It's been 7 minutes. But for that person sitting there super worried, it feels like about 2.5 hours. Type in a yes if you've had this, where it's just like, my goodness, the time appears to be going so slowly. Yeah. And then there's someone else there. They're also sitting in the waiting room, except it's just a normal procedure. There's nothing wrong with them. They actually just want to share something with the doctor and say hello to them. And the same 7 minutes goes past, but it feels like two minutes because they've just been scrolling on Instagram and they weren't even present in that moment. They were a little bit outside of time, right? And so when we start realizing this, we start realizing like, wow, time is actually very malleable. It's not linear, it's not rigid, it's not fixed, even though our perception of time may be that it's very linear and very rigid and very fixed. So if we want to start bending time, which we're going to talk about in this next session, if we want to start going deeper into that, then we must shift firstly our relationship with time. And before we get there, you must look at what is your relationship with time. So are you always telling yourself, for example, oh, I never have enough time to do what I love. I wish I had more hours in the day. I would love to do this and do that in my life, and I would love to achieve that, but I just don't have enough time. I wish I had more time. I wish I had the time to do the things that I loved. Then there's other people out there who have a very different relationship with time. I'm running multiple different companies. I have my beautiful family. I have friends around me. I have so many obligations and responsibilities, if you like, in my life that function at a very high level. And I have a really great lifestyle. And I get a 2-hour massage twice a week. And I go to the beach and I do the things that I love. And I sleep the amount of hours a day that I desire to sleep. How is that? Because we all have 24 hours in the day. Well, if we unpack my relationship with time, which you're more than welcome to borrow and try on and take as your own today, if you like, my relationship with time, my inner wiring that I was not born with, but I conditioned myself into is, well, I always have time to do the things that I love. What if you chose to believe that time was always on your side? What if you chose to believe that time was one of the greatest assets that you had available to you right now? What if you chose to believe that you always had more than enough extra time? What if you chose to believe that things always got done even faster than you expect? What if you chose to believe that your manifestations always showed up faster and earlier in an even easier way than you could have ever expected? Well, from experience, if you condition yourself that way, if you attune your consciousness that way, if you start nurturing that intimate, powerful relationship with time, the world starts reflecting those things back to you. And all of a sudden, you look up and you're like, wow, I've just finished replying to all those emails and doing those things, and I still have 20 minutes left. Wow, I have all this extra time. Wow, I have all this free time. Wow, everything's now done in my day, and I have this chunk of time. How do I choose to now allocate that? We all have the capacity to shift and rewire our manifestations. But again, this starts with crafting your relationship with time. So I invite you, after this process that we go through today, and after you have all the tools of quantum alchemy, start here and really look at, okay, if I want to have a time shift, if I want to have this more malleable experience with time, and in the next sessions, we're going to be talking about time bending, we're going to be talking about time looping, splitting your perceptual awareness. We're going to go into some more advanced concepts, but it starts here. So get your journal and sit down and write out what you now choose to define your relationship with time to be. And get really clear and get really specific. And you might write this out once and then say, you know what? I just don't even feel that. I'm still so busy. Do it again and do it again and do it again. I promise you, if you continue to condition yourself, you will get to a point in time where you're writing out these constructs around time, and you'll think, well, I'm even writing this. This is just my reality right now. But it takes practice. It takes commitment. It's like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym once and then just have the perfect healthy body that you desire. No, you keep going, and then you're sore and you're tired, and you keep going again, and then you think you're not getting results, but you keep going. You must go into the energetic gym of reconditioning your relationship with time. This is the base fundamental for all of the pieces which are going to come up later today. So let me know if you're committed to this. Just type in a yes if you're committed to restructuring and rewiring your relationship with time. And as you do that, we're going to bring Vishen back on, I believe, to introduce Sonia, who is going to wow you with so many pieces which she's going into around intuition and having a beautiful higher access point so you can manifest even faster with even more precision. Yes, yes, yes. Look at all my time benders here ready to go. This is amazing. Yes, guys.
Thank you, Reagan.
So beautiful. So
This is,
I
I
think
wanted to
we'll
say, this is one
bring
of the
Vishen back up over here and stop the share over here. Amazing. Thank you, guys. I will be back on the next session.
Reagan, can you hear me okay? Just checking if you guys can hear me. Great. So our next speaker is Sonia Choquette. So this concept of time dilation is fascinating. Just 2 weeks ago, a study emerged, a medical study, that showed that it was a study on time and wound healing. So they made little incisions, cuts on 2 different groups of people. One group of patients were put in a room with the clock running for 60 minutes, and their cell phones were taken away. The other was put in a room and they were tricked. The clock was actually timed to run 25% faster, so 45 minutes. So what was actually 45 minutes, they perceived as 60 minutes. And the wounds healed faster in that second group. In short, our belief about time influences even healing. So there's more and more medical literature on this. It's fascinating. Now we'll go on to Sonia Choquette and intuition. Remember, one of the key things that masters do is they make choices. And choices can be hard. But very often, the best choices we make don't come from just our logical mind, but they come from a deep, knowing inner gut. Welcome, Sonia Choquette. Sonia, I already introduced you earlier, so the audience knows who you are. They are so thrilled that you're here. I'm going to leave it to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here and very excited to share some of the tools that I have that might even make it easier to assimilate all these really exciting new concepts. And the most important thing that I want to point out, whether it was Vishen sharing his creations or Reagan or anyone who shares our creations, a key component of their creation story is I listened to my inner voice. It's an element that is in every single person's creation story. So what we have to understand is that as we move into manifestation, we're learning something new, and we're learning thank goodness, at a rapid pace, that we are not five sensory beings. We have more than five outer senses. We also have a whole inner constellation of senses that we wrap up into what we call intuition, inner guidance. It could be your sixth sense. I think it's now 6, 7, 8, 9. And the point is that we need both. And if we just use our outer senses, which unfortunately, because of our cell phones and technology and life overloading our brain with information, we just shut down. So the outer senses actually stop working very well. And we need the outer senses because they play a function called discernment, which is part of intuition. Discernment basically means pay attention. So we're going to learn today how to bring those outer senses back online, as well as bring our inner senses back online, and they are going to work together. It's when they fight back and forth that you're going to kind of spin your tail, and you might feel stuck, which is when you're just working with your logic and outer brain, or you might feel inspired, but you're not getting traction. When we're just working with the inner, we have to bring them together. So intuition is actually a beautiful merging of this whole constellation of consciousness that we are, and putting it to use in what Carl Jung called the sacred marriage, head and heart working together, left brain and right brain, mind and spirit. So the first thing you want to know is, we'll talk about time real briefly. When you're just working with the left brain, or the ego sense of I, it by its nature is fearful. And when something is fearful, it contracts. I want you to even feel that in your own body. And when it contracts and it locks down, all of a sudden you're fighting the flow of energy. And that's the feeling of stuck. Okay, that is what creates stuckness. The reason we're not manifesting primarily is we're working just with these external senses that aren't really working well. And we're not using our spirit, our inner sense. When we shift and get out of just that fear brain and we get tuned into the spirit of who we are, we change. You actually will experience a different vibration, and you will experience being unstuck, and you will recognize, I need this inner guidance as part of my essential creation toolkit. It's my essence. It's this life force that came here to create. So you've had a lot of information. I think it would be fun now to have some experiences. So the first thing I want to ask you is if you'd like to do an exercise with me to actually experience changing your vibration, stretching time, and bringing your inner senses on board. So I don't have my glasses on, but I can see all the little flashes, which I'm going to take intuitively as a great big yes. Okay. Now, here's what I know. We want to create something, but if we're just going to use only our ego brain and not use our inner constellation and our beautiful divine spirit, we're going to go right to the nature of that left brain, which is fear. So what really sticks you is that I want to create $1 million. I want to create the love of my life. I want to create the most beautiful home. But then there's this fear, and it's kind of, you know what the fear is? It's actually fear of change. It's like, our ego brain fears change. So I just want you to feel like the first thing I want you to do is I want you all to write down, what is the next thing you want to create? Not the ultimate thing, just the next thing. What would bring you relief? What would bring a smile? What would bring you affirmation? I can do it. What would bring you a sense of relief? What would that be? And I want you to either write it down in the comments, or just, you can try this too, say it out loud. Just with yourself. Just say that out loud. Like, I want to create a beautiful home in the Mediterranean. Okay, whatever. So I want you to identify it. That's what Vishnu was talking about with choice. My spiritual teachers, I was schooled by master teachers from a very young period, said the way to create is to do the next thing. It's hard to jump from here to there, but it's easier until we get the hang of it to just, what's the next thing I want to create? So I see that you're all writing down, and this is very good. Now, feel your body and feel the energy around you. We're going to go through an exercise. So are you ready for this? And step by step. Very first thing I want you to do is I want you to answer quickly. And, you know, typing's good. For some of you, you're great, or just say it out loud. Bring to mind what you want to create. And I want you to answer out loud quickly. Ready? I'm afraid of, answer. I'm afraid of, answer. I'm afraid of, answer. I'm afraid of being too late. I'm afraid I'm too old. I'm afraid I can't catch up. I'm afraid of. Take a breath. I'm afraid of. Take a breath. Breathe in through your nose. Pause. And I want you to look at the most beautiful thing around you. What's right in front of you? Take your eyes off the screen for a moment. What's the most beautiful thing you see right now? And I want you to breathe and exhale. The reason you're doing this is because I'm bringing you out of that fear brain and I'm bringing you back to your body and back to the moment. And you name it out loud. I'm looking at a beautiful ficus tree in my apartment in Paris, right by the window. It's beautiful. Go back to what I want to create. Say what you want to create. Again, out loud. Even better than typing, out loud. And I want you to fill in the blank again, out loud. I'm afraid of, I'll fail. I'm afraid of, this is too hard. I'm afraid of. Just acknowledge what it is you're afraid of. It's not fear that stops you, it's hiding fear. Stop. Feel the energy in your body. Feel the energy around your chest. Feel the energy around your belly, your shoulders. And I want you to take a breath in through the nose. I want you to open your jaw until you hear a click in the ear, in the throat. You can actually feel a whole opening from the ear all the way to your tailbone like this. Ah. I want you to smile. And you feel the energy opening. This is activating these inner senses. Say again what you want. What do you want to create? Feel and create the inner space for it. Say it out loud. And we're going to do this one more time. When I'm afraid of, breathe. One more time, I'm afraid of. One more thing. Feel the energy moving around. I want you to open your jaw again. And I want you to slide right out of your head and right into your heart center, right where your spirit lives, right where your soul, spirit, I call it the spirit, your life force. I want you to put your hand on that place. And I want you to open your jaw and let out another big sigh. Slide right in and smile. And very quickly, I want you to answer, type and say out loud, my spirit says, my spirit says, say it out loud. My spirit says, and listen, but don't listen with your ears. Don't listen up here. Listen with your body. Listen with your energy. My spirit says, breathe. Settling right back. And my spirit says, and feel how the energy is changing. Smile. Stop. Close your eyes. And listen to your head. For most of you, it's going to be quiet. That's a tool I call emptying the garbage. Because you see, it's not fear that stops us, but it's fear that contracts us. It shrinks and sucks time. It creates a huge pushback to life, and you box yourself in and you cut yourself off from flow. But when you empty the garbage, which just is your fears, and you actually voice with your hand on your heart, with the breath in the heart, your spirit has plenty to say, but you have to learn to change the channel. Feel the difference and describe the difference in your physical body and in your state of mind that just this very brief, quick exercise has affected in you. And pay attention, physically describe it. Physically, just you can feel, so we're not just talking words and vibration and we're experiencing a shift in ourselves that we can relate to. So when you feel this, And the thing about the spirit and the feel about inner guidance is it doesn't say a lot. It just says, go there, do that, not on the right track. It doesn't talk a lot. It communicates energetically, but it has a calming, opening effect on your body. And that lets the energy start to flow again that you need to manifest. You stop the contraction, you stop the block, you stop the place where you disconnect. Because when you work just out of the left brain and you just try to work out of your intellect, and by the way, I just want to point out for a lot of people, your intellect really doesn't want to give up and bring these inner senses and the spirit of you on board. So it's going to fake you out and try to be real spiritual. But you can tell if you're really tuning into this inner guidance because you relax. That contraction opens up. The mind goes quiet. And you're listening, but you're not listening to your conversation. You're listening to life and energy. And that's what intuition is. You're listening to the energy, and then you start to calibrate with which energy matches my desire and my intention. And you don't have to get way down the line. You just have to be present and keep feeling the energy, but also be willing to say yes to it by not going up here. I want to point something out. I have been teaching this, bringing these inner senses online for a long time. And most of my observation is your inner senses work. It's a very little true revelation for people. However, the minute they start coming up, that left brain, control brain starts to argue. How can I be sure? How do I know? Well, I don't know. Who do I ask? Is this right? I don't know. Is this? The minute that wheel starts going on, you get sucked right back out of the flow. Shut off your power. Disconnect from this informing, incredible matrix that you are, this receiving, responding matrix. And then you stop. And you know how you can tell? You feel it. Manifestation is a feeling exercise. It's a feeling good, don't think a lot exercise. It's a feel in my heart. And the purpose of our lives, it's something else. And Vishen has shared this. We've talked about it together. It's an important part. And I want, just before I finish our little activity today, it's not just about what I want. The real joy of manifestation is also what I contribute. So I'm going to all ask you what your greatest joy would be if you could contribute something to this world that was maybe 5 words or less, because that opens the heart, and that is the engine for manifestation. It's an act of love. So let's bring that up and feel how your vibration just begins to change. I want to bring, I'm sick of fear. I want to bring a little humor. I want to bring a little laughter. I want to bring back a little bit of reassurance. I want to bring back some ground for people. I want to connect or hug or belong. I want to help people feel they're beautiful and loved, and just feel the quantum field. And you can rub your hands together just like this, and you can feel it. So what we're talking about is not a bunch of sophisticated ideas. It's an actual energy that you can transmit and use to receive. Those are your inner senses. That's what intuition is. It's your inner teacher. It's your inner guide. It's a whole constellation. It's a red light intuition that says, don't go there. It's a green light that says, go on for that. And it's pause, the power of the pause, which is it's coming to you. It's hearing and sensing vibration. And I love when science catches up with the inner world and the inner genius that we are. And I just got this email from my sister, and it said, science has discovered that cells have sound that our physical ears can't hear, but our energy body can. And that's what intuition is following. Sound vibration of what is resonating with our hearts, wanting to connect and join with the highest frequencies of the planet and contribute our joy. So there you go. there's just a little way of clicking in and experiencing right off the bat the things that we're going to be using. And it really is fun. And it can be real simple. So that's, I think, just kind of a bookend for all this. So I just want you to experience it. This is a in me happening reliable resource. And my inner senses are not here to fight my outer senses. They're partners. But my inner senses lead the dance. And the outer senses support it instead of argue. So there you go. I love all these comments. The key is this: stay in your body, stay in your breath. Listen to the vibration of your heart and body. And know that our purpose in life is to create and manifest and to bring beauty and joy and to bring something loving and wonderful to the world. And the universe supports that. Absolutely supports that for all of us. That is our natural design. We can't do it and we cannot succeed if we're only using part of the apparatus, just like a car can't drive if only 3 of the 4 wheels are on board or the engine isn't working. And if we trust that the way we are designed and that our inner senses are coming on board, and rather than feeling we have to fight them or justify them, we have to engage them and be excited. But there is science catching up. Our cells are communicating, our vibration is elevating, our inner senses are jump starting, the matrix is flipping, the moment is now. So being called to this manifestation experience isn't just about making your own life better, but about your ability to make all of our lives better. And that's the biggest satisfaction in the manifestation experience. Okay, so that's it. So I'm going to just put this little clicker on. I'm not really that good in the physical world. So Vishen, are you coming back on? Let's see if I can get my glasses and see if I can see. You are in the webinar. Got it. I just want to read these for just a moment. I want you, the other thing, since I'm still talking, and then I'll go backstage here. I see here one more thing. Before we click, and I'm going to click off, I want you to be aware of your body because you have just raised your vibration and you're feeling your power. Okay, now I know how to get out of here. Bye, everyone.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you for that fabulous presentation.
It was my pleasure. This is my favorite
By the
thing in
way,
the world to do.
By the way, I was just sharing with Sonia. We're just having a friendly conversation, and for the last couple of nights, I've been going to sleep with this gorgeous meditation by Sonia Choquette on the Mindvalley app. I want to tell you where to find it. It's available to you guys who are Mindvalley members. It's so good. We have thousands of meditations, so I don't get to listen to everything, but it's a channeled work by Sonia. So if you go to the app and you type in sleep, okay, you search for the sleep meditation, it's called Drifting into Deep Healing Sleep by Sonia Choquette. And it's not just getting you to sleep, it's just this whole wild journey communicating with your higher self and your guides. Okay, so it's called Drifting into Deep Sleep. That is it, Drifting into Deep Sleep. It's on your Mindvalley membership, okay, under meditations.
Great.
Sonia, thank you so much.
My pleasure. All my love, everybody. Happy creations. Bye.
And coming up next is Dame Marie Diamond. Okay, so what can I say about Marie Diamond? Marie was featured in the hit film The Secret, but she's so much more. And with my crew backstage, if Marie is ready, okay, if she's ready, you can just pop Marie right on. So recently, Marie was giving a talk on Mindvalley, And this famous rapper by the name of Big Sean was captivated by her. So Big Sean reached out to Marie and asked Marie to guide him in his career. And his career transformed. His song started hitting #1 on Spotify. And so much, I wouldn't have permission to share this, except that Big Sean went public with this. He was so grateful to Marie Diamond. He went public with this on the Jay Shetty show and publicly acknowledged how a spiritual medium was helping him reinvent his career and produce all of this great work. Now, I personally, after that, I knew Marie as a teacher in Mindvalley, but I personally, after that, started working with Marie to help me with advanced manifesting. And the stuff she does is really interesting. I want to share with you one crazy story of Marie Diamond. So I sat down with Marie, and this was in 2016, was the first time we met. And you see, manifesting comes in different layers. There's conscious manifesting, that's our mind. There's subconscious, which is our beliefs, which are often submerged inside us. We don't even know we have some of these beliefs. But then there is the energy of the world around us. Have you ever been in a space where you just feel higher energy? And have you ever been in a space where you feel the energy drags you down? So the Chinese call this feng shui. The ancient Hindus call it Vastu Shastra. There are many different names for it, but it's about the energy of the world. So in 2016, we went through problem with the company. And Mindvalley was much smaller back then. This was 8 years ago. We were burning through $100,000 a month. Every month we were losing 100 grand. And we didn't have that much money in our bank account. We were a small private company. So Jan, we lost $100,000. February, we lost 100,000. March, we lost 100,000. And when this started happening, I started going into negative emotions. Remember, right? When you go to negative emotions, you get stuck. It continued. By July, we had lost $700,000, which was more than half the cash reserves we had. And coincidentally, that July, I was attending an event, and Marie Diamond came and sat at my table, and she says, Vishen, I had a dream that you and I needed to connect. And so I thought, who is this strange lady? But I sit with her, and she somehow gets me talking about what's going on in my life. And I explained to her this difficult business situation. She asks me to draw on a napkin my office space where I'm sitting. She gets some readings from me. And then she tells me this one thing. You are positioned in an energetic way that is in the wrong direction. All I want you to do is to change the position of your desk. Take your desk and flip it 180 degrees. Okay, so I go back. I flip my desk 180 degrees. Now, I have a designer office. The desk is bolted to the ground. This wasn't easy. I wrecked my office, flipped my desk 180 degrees. This was end of July. In August, everything turned around. We launched a new program called WildFit in August 2016. We made a grand profit of exactly $700,000. All the money I'd lost the prior 7 months came back. But then more and more and more great things started happening. We invented a new way of teaching people called Mindvalley Quest. A year later, we created Mindvalley Membership. Mindvalley started accelerating, and we were never the same company again. Now, the story doesn't end there. Back then I was married, and I went and I told this to my then wife, Christina. So we had Marie do a reading on Christina's business. She and her chief operating officer were facing each other, and Marie said they need to swap positions. Swap positions. We made some other changes to their office. Within 1 month, they had their record sales month. Now, I cannot explain this. Maybe it's a bizarre coincidence, but I do know that Marie Diamond has a very unique skill. Marie, are you ready to come on? So while waiting for Marie,
I'm
Reagan,
not Marie, but I
welcome
love
back.
Marie. I see Marie
all
just
our-
in the backstage right now. I think we can switch her and get her on right now. Give us 1 second.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, we have hit our maximum on Zoom. There are 10,000 people live with us. So if you leave this, most likely you will not be able to come in because unfortunately, I wish we had known this many people were going to turn up. We would have doubled our Zoom account. Marie Diamond, welcome.
Hello, Vishen. Amazing to be with you.
So, Marie, I just did a fabulous introduction of you. I spoke about how you transformed my office space, causing huge boost in revenue. I told a story about you and Big Sean. And now I want to leave it to you to talk about the concept of how the space around us can turn into a 3D vision board. Folks, my entire home is optimized by Marie Diamond philosophies. So my entire home is like a resonance frequency that amplifies my health and my visions. Marie, on to you.
Thank you so much, Vishen. Hello, everybody. How wonderful to be with you here on this amazing highlights. And thank you, Reagan, for having me here. And so one of the things I would love to connect with you about is to understand that there are not just the mindset that you can focus on to create and manifest the dream life that you want. You have to understand everything around you is also affecting you, not just people, but literally where you live, where you work, where you sleep, your environment is actually affecting you on a subconscious level. So as you have a great mindset and you set your goals and you're manifesting, it is possible you feel like there's a slowing down. It doesn't manifest fast enough for you. And that can be because your environment is telling a different story. So this is how I got through it, because I understood from my 15 years on, after a near-death experience, I became aware of how my environment had been affecting me. I was in the wrong place. I was really with the wrong decor all around me. And as I moved into a different space, suddenly my life started shifting very quickly in a positive sense. And I think we all have this experience that we are somewhere living in a house and we look back at it and like, that was a very difficult time. Like there was like so, much hardship. I had not good relationships. And then you move into a different space and you're like, oh, things went easier there. And it's because there is something called the 3 parts of luck. So the first part of luck is what we call your spiritual part. And your spiritual part is really you connecting in with your spirit, with your soul. And you're doing that through meditations, through rituals, through prayers. You're connecting in with that higher frequency of spirit. And as you're tuning into that, you are manifesting from that perspective. And that's why meditation is so important. That's why journaling is so important. So anything that you do on a higher frequency level will actually affect you in your manifestation. We call that the spiritual luck, and it's responsible for about 1/3 of your results of your manifestation. The second part is actually what we call the human luck. And this is what do you do with your human potential? You all have ideas. You all have great goals. You all have, everything you want and desire, but are you taking action towards it? Do you take action physically? Like literally every day, do you do something towards that goal that you have? But also, do you take the right actions in your mind? That means, do you have the right thoughts, the right insights, the right frequencies in your mindset? And of course, there are amazing teachers here like Reagan talking and Vishen talking about this concept. But also you need to look at what is your actions in your emotional well-being. So what do you do right emotionally? And of course, gratitude plays a big role into that. And then the third part is literally your environment, your earth luck. And so I want you to become aware, of just moving through your house, like literally take a conscious exercise, even today, that you open the door and you think, I am the universe right now. I am God. I'm the creative force in myself. And I open the door and I walk through my house. Is this the mental frame, the energetic frame that, my manifestation can manifest in, literally, because you're manifesting in a 3-dimensional field, and that 3-dimensional field is connected with your quantum field, and even your environment is part of that quantum field. But is it reflecting what you really want? Let's say you want to have romance, but everywhere where you walk are images of solitary people. Now, I'm telling you, your mindset is then going to be influenced by that mind field that you have created, that vision board, as we call it, subconsciously, that is telling all the time, give you reminders, it's okay to be single, right? Or you want to have great abundance and wealth, but everywhere where you go, there's clutter, there's chaos, there are dead flowers, dead plants, there's like not enough good energy around you, then the vitality lack that you have in your environment is going to stop the vitality energy of abundance, because abundance is vitality. It means it's lush, juicy, wonderful energy that is around you. But if your home is telling a different story, then guess who will win? It's your home, because it's there 24 hours a day, giving you an influence. So feng shui, and as a feng shui master, I started understanding that feng shui was the energy system that for thousands of years was practiced to really understand that how the flow of energy is, how the flow of vibration is in the space around you. And so what we see is that energetically, we need to pay attention to that. Yeah. Is there flow of good vitality, life force around us? So it's very simple to start with that. And the first step, as I always would say, start decluttering, start creating order in your life. It could be on your desk right now, like I'm on my desk right now talking to you. I mean, there is symmetry behind me, like two lights, right? So I have around me, all my desk is decluttered. Yeah. So when I go into my house, everything there is, order and beautiful energy with lush flowers, beautiful crystals, a nice smell, like everything is uplifted. And I want you to think about, if you want to create abundance in your life, your space has to be energetically like a place of wealth, a place of like a palace. Literally, you're the queen, you're the king in your own space. So is that telling this is a place where I want to attract things in, where I want to manifest things in? Or do you think that will be not possible? Now you can say, Marie, I don't live in a big house. I mean, I started all this in a very tiny, small studio, right? So I was in that place where I had, starting my life in a very small energy, but I always upgraded. I made sure there was always lush flowers, there was beautiful crystals, there was beautiful colors. And one of the colors, and that's your second step, is to add gold to it. Like literally, like I have something gold, close to me on my desk, and I put some, coins in it. Literally, you can put some coins of your own country in it, or even from multiple countries, because then you say, I get cash flow from all over the world. And so you just put that close to you. Yeah. So that your subconscious mind is seeing money all the time. Yeah. So don't put banknotes, but just really physical money. Don't put chocolate coins because you eat them, but just something that just represents that standard of gold, because gold is the standard level, the level of excellence. So these are like small tips that you can start doing with, but you can also go for positioning yourself. And so I want you to think about, if you would be the person with success, the person with wealth, how would position yourself in the space that you are? Well, that's what we call the power position. So that's a very important step. And I want you to start practicing this. And you can do that by literally, when you're sitting on your desk or you're doing your work, even if it's online, make sure that in the space that you are sitting or working at, that you always see the door of the room you're coming into, right? So that means as you would walk in, like I have 3 doors, yeah? But I have a door to a closet, I have a door to a bathroom, but I'm not coming in and out there all the time. I'm using the door from the hallway coming in. I see that door. So what happens when you sit like this, and that can be at your dining room, can be in your sofa, can be in your bedroom if you wake up, that you can see that door in any meeting that you have, even outside your house, in a restaurant, in a coffee shop, wherever you are, position yourself that you can see the people walking in. When you do that, you're saying to the universe, I am ready to receive them. All the opportunities. I'm saying yes to the universe because I see the flow of energy. This is simple steps that you can take every day. And what it does, it changes your mindset. Because if you're sitting with your back to the door, then literally you're saying to the universe, I am not interested in the flow of energy that comes into the space. I'm not interested in what people bring to me, because things manifest through people. And so if you are sitting with your back to them, then you're saying literally, I am not interested in what the universe has as gifts to me. So this is like a simple step that you can all take that doesn't cost you money. Like you literally can take your desk, turn it around. Yeah. Or any moment you're meeting people, you are always getting a little bit earlier and make sure you're sitting in a position that you can see them when they come into space. So you can say, hi, welcome to my space. So that can be done at your dining room, like your sofa. So turn things around, because what happens, you get a different angle of perception. And when you have a different angle of perception, you will see that the universe will give you more. So just turn yourself around in a good space. And I want to go back to that decluttering energy, because some people don't get so much what that really means. When we create space, we want to manifest things and we want to let go of things from the past. And I know that's very important. And manifestation is that you don't hold on to things that, you've been holding on to, that have been stopping you from creating the future. Now, I want you to look at anything in your environment that is holding you on. So there can be memories of people that, or files, or anything that you feel like, that was part of my past experience, and that past was not so positive. Don't hold on to it. If it was a positive past, like awards, for example, or certificates, yes, keep holding on to that, because it shows you created a level of excellence. But things that you're like, I had this relationship with that friend, I still have that picture, it ended badly, remove that. You can always put it in storage, but don't make it visible. Don't make it in your field. Yeah, so that you still see it. Now you can say, I'm not looking all the time at that picture. Your subconscious is. Because nonstop, your subconscious is picking up everything that is around you. So when you change that around and you let that go and you put other things in place, things that you really would love to connect with. And that can be, for example, teachers you want to work with. It can be, perhaps, Mindvalley University you want to go to, or anything that you feel like there's something I would like to go to. You just to go to Google, put in the words, print something out. And so as you're placing that around you, that is very powerful. And of course, your vision board is part of that. So I would love for you to look at your vision board, look at your journal, look at your life book, and look at it. Is it something I need to upgrade? And very important, when you have like the journal or your life book or your vision board, work with the colors gold. So that can be that you put it in a gold frame. It's possible you put some gold items around it, or you even write with a gold looking pen, because then you're telling your mindset, in your environment, I'm stepping up to the golden level of myself, to my abundance level. So these are a few steps. I hope this could be really great for you, because from that moment on, you will start changing the energy. And also for success, and perhaps some of you have noticed my outfit. So I wear colors blue right now, because blue is a color of success. So just adding that to your environment, the gold and the blue, it doesn't mean you have to paint everything in that color. This is like feng shui is an energy system that is like acupuncture. So you put like little acupuncture points around you, like something in gold, something in blue. By putting that around you, your subconscious mind will connect with, oh, I'm ready for success. I'm ready for abundance. And if you want to be ready for romance, focus on pink or rose, but especially in your bedroom, because that is the anchor point for it. So add some rose candles, add some rose pillows. Just by doing that, your quantum field experience will shift, because colors are part of your quantum field. They are showing higher frequencies. So that is what I would love for you to just start becoming aware of, because as you're creating and manifesting, understand that everything around you is manifesting with you or can block you. And that is why your earth luck, your feng shui as an energy system, is telling you you can manifest an extra 33%. This is what I've been focusing on for the last 30 years to share people. And that is what got me into the secret. By using these principles, I made sure that all this energy was around me. This is how I manifest working with Vishen and working in Mindvalley, because I had these images of Mindvalley and a picture of Vishen and I on a certain space in my environment. And more about that will be shared, of course, in the mastery course. But I'm so excited for you to start becoming aware of your environment. So look through your house, make some notes. Oh, this is great. I can let go of this. I need to update this picture. Like, oh, I could add some gold here. Just small little things so that your vibration in your environment will be uplifted, will be changed. So you are ready to manifest everything you have put your mind on it, that you're ready from your soul purpose to manifest. And I'm so very looking forward for all of you to start seeing some amazing results with all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. It is such a pleasure having you here. So Marie, Sonia Choquette, Michael Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh, all of these are also teachers. I'm sure you guys know Mindvalley now has a manifesting mastery program. We'll talk about that later towards the day. All of these remarkable teachers are part of that program. Marie, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to bring back Reagan. So how are you guys enjoying this so far? And I was just texting my team. I'm like, these events are getting so popular. We got to be expanding our Zoom lines. I'm sorry for all of the people who are trying to come in and we maxed out at 10K. Reagan, back to you.
Thank you so much, Vishen. All right, guys, how is that? So amazing.
I love the flood of comments. Look at that. Okay, Reagan, back to you.
Thank you so much. How are you guys doing? How amazing is Marie? Every time I hear her speak, I just pick up so many practical things. And it's interesting. I'm actually in a process right now of decluttering my life and my clothes. So I was really happy to hear that I'm on the right path with cleaning up the energy, even more so in my space. Yes, guys, beautiful. So let me also just share the screen over here so we can get the slides back up and running with you guys. Here we go. Give me a yes if you can see my video and the slides. It looks like everything is working well. Amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Good. All right. So let's dive back in, guys. We went deeply into the time shift, and we're going to keep moving forward with quantum alchemy. Now, there is a lot to go through over the next half an hour or so. And in Miami, this was about an hour long, this toolkit. So we're going to be compressing time together. I am going to speak fast because I want to give you guys as much value as possible. And I just have a feeling that you're ready to go deep. So give me a yes if that is the case and you're ready to go into some of the deeper, more high level constructs around this. And of course, if you do want to go deeper, because we only have a short period of time here, all of these concepts and so many more we go deeper into in the Manifesting Mastery program, where obviously you have a lot more time to tap into all of this. Yes, 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 yes. All right, beautiful. So we talked about firstly the time shift and expanding your relationship with time. And now what's really important is starting to bend the time, starting to play with the time. And what does that actually look like? So we already touched upon the fact that time is like this beautiful rubber band you have in your toolkit. Time is fluid. It is elastic. And are we altering the time, or is the time altering us? And we remember from the last section that we can alter the time based on our own perception. And we have a lot more influence on time than what many people may actually think. You know, even Sonia said it. She said there is scientific evidence that has now come out that even our cells have sound vibrations, which are wave patterns, which is exactly what we talked about in that section, right? And they're able to be measured by science, even though maybe we can't see or feel it with our human eyes. The science is now catching up to what we already know. So if we are all wave patterns, if we are all light, sound, and frequency, if we are all oscillating and and vibrating, then time is also doing that. And we're able to actually bend and shift the time in order to support our manifestations. Remember, high level manifestation is not will it happen, it is when will it actually happen. So if time is existing in order for us to experience our creation, and we know that we can shift and alter our perception of time in order to have a different experience and relationship with time, then we can start doing some very practical things to start actually bending how fast something can show up in our lives. So if you have something that you desire to manifest and you're thinking, oh gosh, it might take me 5 years or 3 years or 1 year even, then all of a sudden you start learning how to bend the time. All of a sudden we can have that manifestation show up in 8 months or in 6 months or in 4 months or even sooner, which is really, really, really exciting. So I first came across this concept of bending time when I was a really little girl, actually, and I was in school, and those of you who were in Miami would have heard me share this piece of the puzzle, because when I was in school, there was really only a few classes that I enjoyed, and that was music and that was art class. Everything else I wasn't enjoying. If it was physics, if it was maths, if it was geography, if it was anything else, I was bored. And so I started staring at the clock. You know, all of my classrooms had this big analog clock at the front of the room with the second hand going like this. And I started playing this game with myself. I was probably, you know, maybe 7 or 8 years old, right? And what I would do is I would look at the clock whilst the teacher was probably saying very important things. I would look at the clock and I would say, okay, cool. The second hand is at the 12. And I would close my eyes and I would allow myself to feel when it got to 45 seconds. Now, in the beginning, I would just look at it and feel what it felt like to clock on 45 seconds. Then I would close my eyes and I would try and guess, okay, is it at 45 seconds right now? And I kept doing this, and I got to be surprisingly accurate, where I could open my eyes and sure enough, 45 seconds. So then what I would do, you can obviously see I was paying a lot of attention in school. I would stare at the clock. I would wait for the second hand to come to 12. It would start moving around. And as I closed my eyes, I would say, okay, I want the time to now speed up. I want to experience the 45 seconds going faster, but I want to open my eyes exactly at the 45-second mark. And I would do this time and time again, over and over and over, this little game that I was playing with myself. And it's interesting, I could open my eyes when the second hand got to 45 seconds, and it felt like, in my world, the time did go faster. And I thought, that's interesting. I wonder if I can play the same game. This is all just a game when I was 7 or 8 years old. I wonder if I can play the same game where I look at the second hand at the 12 and I close my eyes. I'm going to open it at the 45-second mark, but now I want to slow it down. I want the time to go really, really, really slow. And sure enough, I would do that. And it felt like 3 or 4 minutes have passed, but I opened my eyes right at the 45-second mark. Now, it's interesting. I thought, okay, this is a fun little game. What if I could do this with larger chunks of time, with larger amounts of time? So I started playing with this in classes that were scheduled for an hour that I really didn't like a maths class, for example. I was really bored. And I started going, okay, the hour hand starts on the hour, the clock finishes an hour later. What if I could speed up the time so this class goes faster for me? And I started practicing. And then when I was in my music class or my art class, I loved all the creative classes, I would just want to be there forever. And so I would start the clock, right? I would look at the clock at the beginning of the hour, and I knew there was an hour of music class, and I would make it last what seemed like 3 or 4 hours for me. I started playing this game, and then as I grew up and became more of a teenager, I started applying it when I was running late, which seemed to be pretty much always in my teenage life. And I started saying, oh my goodness, I've only got 5 minutes to get to this class. Well, I know it takes me 15 minutes to walk from that building to that building. Can I get there on time by bending the time? And I started playing with this. And then as a teenager, I started going to parties, right? And I started having the time of my life and meeting boys for the first time because I went to an all-girls Anglican high school, right? And I was just having so much fun. I never wanted those nights to end as a teenager. I think we've all had that experience when we're 13, 14 years old. And I started bending the time so that evening felt like it just went for so long. Now, these were just all little games that I were playing in my head, but reflecting back on it now, I started realizing like, wow, I was really playing with and expanding my perception of space in order to alter the time. So you can start playing right now little games like this with yourself, right? Where you literally take the second hand, or you take a 5-minute chunk of time, and you can do this whilst you're working. You look at the clock on the hour, you're replying to emails, and you're going to say, oh, I'm just going to be aware of the time 10 minutes out from now. And then look back at the clock roughly 10 minutes from now and see how your perception is. Are you linked to that time? Because when you have a good linking into what time is in our reality, you can start playing with it and start altering your perception to stretch it and to bend it, to speed it up. Now, I know we all want to say, oh, I want my money goal to show up not in 5 years, but in 6 months. Yes, and how you do this is in the micro details of actually practicing this by getting into the small, maybe basic examples that I just shared with you and playing with this. So one of the things that can help you come into this time-bending reality is expanding your perception of space. Now, one of the most beautiful ways to do this is to go to nature. Anywhere that you feel you might stand on the edge of a cliff, or you go to the ocean and you look out into the ocean, into the sunrise or the sunset, and you know that feeling, just type in a yes if you're like, wow, it just feels infinite, right? And if you've had that feeling and you can easily access it through nature, look up at the sky, go outside and look at the sky. Wow. Look at the stars. Wow. It feels like they go on forever. If you can tap into that feeling, you feel that feeling, and then next time you're playing with the time and bending it, allow yourself to alter your perception. Wow, there's so much time available. And we start linking and mapping up these feelings and these states and these vibrations, which we're going to talk about a little later, and we start imprinting them onto our relationship with time so that the time is more malleable and that we can play with it at a deeper way. Another way to also help you do this and come into greater time bending and accelerate this is to keep what I call a time perception journal. So if you have a time perception journal, you want to just simply just jot down and make notes of any times you feel like the time just flew by. Oh, it flew by when I was having a conversation with a friend earlier today. Or make notes. You know what? That meeting I just had was half an hour and it felt like it went for 5. Write it down, because you want to train your own perceptual awareness to notice when the time is speeding up or slowing down so that you have more access points to it, right? Now, one of the ways that you can also accelerate time bending is to start time looping your reality. So what does this mean? Once again, we live in a world of vibration and frequency. Time is multidimensional and it's simultaneous, right? Light and time and us is a vibration. We talked about how the colors even have waves which are vibrating, and the objects which seem very like solid. This is like solid right here. No, it's vibrating. It's actually alive, right? Everything is happening simultaneously. Now, with time, we like to put it in boxes, right? And we say, okay, this is my past, this is my present now, this is my future. But actually, everything is happening simultaneously. Now, we know this when sometimes something happens and you get the feeling of, I feel like this has happened before. Or you get the feeling of, okay, this just happened, but I feel like I know this feeling, right? Type in a yes if you've had almost that deja vu feeling where something happens and it's new, but it feels like it's not new. Now, what is happening? It's because you are experiencing that timestamp of it happening now, but it's looping into a convergence point, which means you have full and complete access to all of the information through the construct of time of your past and of your future, and you're able to access it at the now. So many people step into a time loop in their life and they do it unconsciously. They do it without even realizing. Now, the fun thing is that you can install a time loop in your reality to accelerate your manifestations very intentionally. So it's very simple. You can even close your eyes right now. And if you close your eyes and simply picture yourself at now, I want you to picture just a dot in front of you that is now. Okay. Now I want you to turn your focus towards your past and then expand your awareness out towards your future, and just put a dot either side. You have your past, you have now, you have your future. You have 3 dots. Then from your past, I want you to run almost a figure of 8 loop, which comes up and crosses at the now, and then comes down into the future. And then from the future, I want you to run that energy up from the future back into the now, crossing over, and then back into the past. So we now have this figure of 8 loop. You can look at my image now if you have your eyes closed. So we have this figure of 8 loop, which is crossing at the now. Now, when we have a time cross like that and a cross in our consciousness, this creates a 0 point, which effectively means that we can access, it's an infinity sign, you're right. We can access all information all at once simultaneously. Okay, so now that you've installed that, you have access to this convergence point. So when you want to start bending time, when you want the time to go slower or faster in your reality, or when you want to access a higher version of you, which we're going to talk about shortly, you can choose to simply step into that convergence point. Right? And you do this through your own intention. You do this through your own consciousness. You don't necessarily need to see the figure of 8 loop, but if you just know that it's there and you're intending, okay, now I'm going to bend the time and I'm stepping into this time loop, you start giving yourself infinite access to all time, all realities, because everything is happening simultaneously, and it's only us that chooses to be separate and put the time in boxes. From here, you are connected to the field of infinite possibilities, which means you're connected to infinite manifestations, which means even the manifestations that maybe you're calling in that are so big and so powerful are maybe going to show up in an even more powerful way and even faster than you expect, because you're bringing it into that 0 point of your reality, right? Guys, there was no slide. I got you to do this through your own consciousness. I want you to not have an image of this, but simply have your own image constructed within the field of your own consciousness, okay? So as we go a layer deeper into this, and we start bending and altering the time based on our new relationship with time, and we've created this convergence point of information to step into, we can start playing with time dilation, which means that we can begin to bend time and accelerate the slowing up and the speeding down of it if we want something to last longer or show up even faster. And we can do this through time dilation. So how this works is that from quantum physics, we use the theory of relativity, right? Now, what this means through this theory is that time can appear to pass at different rates depending on the observer. Remember, I said earlier, time is a perception of our own consciousness. It allows us to experience reality through our own perception. So if we change our perception, we start changing the time and we're able to bend it at a greater capacity. Now, before I go deeper into accelerating this, I want to share with you, for example, an athlete, right? Let's say there's a really amazing baseball player and he's in a stadium full of so many people, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, and everyone is watching him. And the guy throws the ball towards him. Now, you ask any athlete in this position, the ball is coming towards him right now. He's getting ready to hit that ball, and he's intending, he's manifesting exactly where it's going to go, how far he's going to hit it, in what direction. You ask an athlete under all that pressure with all those people watching him, they will tell you it's almost like the ball slows down and comes to him in order for him to line it up and hit it. So he has a perception that the ball is almost slowing down and coming into perfect alignment for him to hit it. Now, the hundreds of thousands of people in the stadium, they almost don't see the ball. It comes so fast, and all of a sudden they hit it and they're following the ball, but it's almost like that ball speeds up. So interesting. How can it be the same ball, but different perception, which then alters the relativity of how the time is processed, right? Now, why does this happen? This happens because of a different focus point, a different intention, and a different emotional state. So our emotional reality directly affects how we are observing our reality, which directly affects how we are relating to the time. So if someone is in a peak state, if someone is in a place of actually feeling a full vibrational frequency of intention, and they feel that their manifestation is already done, then they have much more access point to actually shift and control and dilate the time in order to have the perception of time do what they desire. Whereas if someone is in a state where they're thinking, oh, you know, my manifestation is so big, it's going to take so long, it's almost impossible, I don't know how I'm going to do this, I'm not good enough for this, that affects our vibrational frequency. And that also then makes the manifestation take even longer, because we're charging it with a vibrational frequency that doesn't help us accelerate it. Right? So you are in control of your own vibrational resonance. You are in control of your own vibrational state and your own vibrational frequency. And if you're able to alter your state and you're able to tap into an altered state of bliss, of joy, of feeling it. Sonia said it earlier. She was like, manifestation is a feeling energy. It's not something we know from our mind. It's a vibration. It's a feeling. It's a state of being. And if you're able to know that you know that you know that your manifestation is done, anchored, grounded, solidified, and from here you are just accelerating the time, then you are putting a very different emotional imprint into the field of your reality, which is allowing the time to speed up and allowing it to dilate, and your manifestation shows up even faster, right? Just type in a yes if you guys are understanding this, and if you're feeling the frequency of this and really taking your power back and going, you know what, I'm actually able to change my state and warp the time and go into this and actually shift my own perceptual awareness. Yes, I see you guys. I see you guys. So it's almost like your intention plus your frequency creates a time shift. Right? Your intention of where you're going and how easy this gets to be, plus your own vibrational frequency that you bring into the mix, creates a time shift. So if we go a layer deeper, you start learning how to split your perception. You start learning how to access different realities happening simultaneously in order for you to once again close the gap of your manifestations. I talked about this very deeply in Miami on the stage, where I shared a story where once years ago, I had this big dream of impacting over 1 million people. And at this point in time, that dream was very far away. I probably had about 5,000 followers on my social media, and I was doing my purpose work, but in a very small scale. And so it seemed like a very big dream. And I went through this beautiful process with one of my guides, where my guide showed me how to simply pull up 2 screens in front of me and focus on 2 people that I wanted to serve simultaneously. And at the same time, feel everything that they were feeling and thinking and being, and have total access and presence to both of them. And as I practiced that, it took a lot of concentration, a lot of intention. As I practiced this, my guide said, now I want you to split your reality into 3 screens and focus on 3 random people that you don't know. And I want you to show up with a heart of service and feel what it feels like to serve them. And I felt that. And then my guide said, now split it into 5 screens, 10 screens, 100 screens, 500 screens, 10,000 screens. And I went through this process where I had all these little boxes filled with all of these people that I had no idea who they were, but I could feel what it felt like to be connected to each and every single one of them. And as I took this concept and I increased it to 1 million people and feeling what that level of service and impact felt like, I then started applying this to manifestations. And very simply, I started saying, okay, what if I could pull up a screen or an intention and I could focus on one big goal, let's say a 12-month goal that I'm looking to manifest. And then what if I could simultaneously in my consciousness bring up another screen and focus on the stepping stone towards that. So let's say the goal in 1 month. Let's say I wanted to manifest $100,000 in a year. I would hold that as the big goal. And then maybe the stepping stone was $20,000. So I would be focusing simultaneously, feeling what it feels like to connect and be with and vibrational energetic match to the 20,000 and the 100,000 simultaneously. Right? And so as you practice this and as you do this, you're able to realize, wow, I can feel what both of those feel like at the same time. And you can take this right now and practice this with any higher manifestation, and then the stepping stone that you must get to in order to get to that larger dream, prayer, vision, manifestation, and just simply allow yourself to see and feel both of them simultaneously. And feel what it feels like to have already manifested that. And the more you do this, the more you're able to split your perception. You're able to access different realities. You're able to access different timelines. You're able to bend the time and close the gap because you're doing this simultaneously. What most people do is they just focus on the next step and the next step, or they focus on the big vision, but they miss the stepping stones. If you're able to split your perception, you can accelerate this so deeply. Are you guys are you picking up what I'm putting down here? I'm going so fast, but I want to make sure that we do as much as possible. We are literally bending the time together to actually get through all of this because these are deep concepts, I know. Amazing. All right. So this is a very important accelerator. When you are using quantum alchemy, when you're shifting your relationship with time, when you're bending the time, when you've set up a time loop convergence point, and when you're going in and you're dilating the time and then splitting your perception to accelerate it, you want to make sure that you have a connection point to your highest version of you so that you can actually access the information of the version of you that has already created exactly what you desire in your life. So we know time is simultaneous. We know everything is happening all at once. And we also know that if you are multidimensional, then you are able to have full and complete access to the highest version of you right now. Notice my language. I'm not saying higher self. There's a lot of higher self teachings out there. I'm talking about your highest self, because why would we not just go to that? Go to the highest version of you in your consciousness that you have available. So here's how it works, right? 5 years ago, you were you. And if we fast forward to now, you're still you. You're just 5 years more evolved. You're younger, you're better looking, you're more conscious. It's just how it works, right? And then if we go out into your future, 5 years out from now, you're still going to be you. You're just going to be younger, better looking, more evolved. You're going to be that version of you that's already manifested what you desire. So most people wait out the time and they say, okay, let me just evolve gradually into that version of me. Or there's people like you and I who go, you know what? Okay, I have access to that version because it's all just information at the end of the day. So through the quantum field of information, let me tap with my intention into the highest version of me that's already manifested what I desire. And let me simply import that information, download it if you like, into my own consciousness. Have an interview, a conversation with the highest version of me and ask them, hey, highest version of me that's already manifested what I desire, how do you walk? How do you talk? How do you think? How do you act? What do you say yes to? What do you say no to? What do you no longer tolerate in your life? What are you excited by? What do you dress like? What do you eat? How do you feel your body? What kind of people do you have around you? What kind of mentorship containers are you in? Who's your coach? Who's your mentor? What do you say yes to? What do you boldly say no to? And you start connecting and you start importing that information, and something very interesting happens. Quantum entanglement begins to happen in the field. There's a particle here at now, and then there's a particle here with the highest version of you. And as you choose to fold that reality, you bring those particles together, they start vibrating and they start impacting each other, because we know through quantum entanglement that this impact can happen from one particle to another, and it does not matter how far away it is. So it doesn't matter if it's really far out in your future, 20 years away, it doesn't matter, because we know that we can impact it. And so from this place, we allow our highest version of ourselves to impact our vibrational state, vibrating with particles, because that is what we are at the end of the day. We allow that to be impacted. The quantum entanglement takes place. And from here, we have access points of information through the time loop that we just talked about, through that convergence point, through that infinity loop of information, allowing you to access time and space across different realms, realities, and dimensions. And so you don't need to gradually evolve into a higher version of you. No, like, you get to choose to actually connect with that version of you right here, right now, in order to import that information and then simply show up and be and walk and talk and think and act from that place. Are you guys getting this? Do you understand how powerful this can be? Vision shared at the very beginning of this training, for those of you who stay right until the end, there's a free gift from me. And it is a free gift, a process, a guided meditation, activation of energetic architecture for you to do exactly this, to guide you through this process. So you don't just understand this with your mind, but you're able to embody this through every layer of your being. Are you guys excited about that? Usually you would need to pay for that, but I would love to gift it to you as a thank you to being here with all of us and going deep and creating this beautiful vortex together. Yes, 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 yes. I see these yeses going so fast. You guys are amazing. So one final piece until we bring Vishen back on and go a little deeper. What most people are doing through their limited linear understanding of time is they say, well, you know, we have our past and we have our now and we have our future. And what they do unconsciously without realizing it, I've done this a lot in my life, is they take their past and they copy paste it into their now. And then they take that and they copy paste it into their future. And they say, I don't know why my life isn't manifesting. I don't know why my future's not changing. I don't know why I haven't manifested the money that I desire, because unconsciously they're copy pasting their past into their future. And they're telling themselves a story that, well, I didn't do that in the past, or I wasn't good at that, or I haven't done it, or I failed at it, which means that that's what my future is going to be like. You need to stop right there. Take a step back and realize, whoa, hang on. Let me claim my power back. I don't need to unconsciously copy paste into my future. No. Actually, right now, here at the convergence point, in that time loop that I have available, I have the capacity to completely shift, alter, and change my future. Completely shift, alter, and change my reality. How do we do this? We start taking a step back and we start realizing, like, well, hang on, we can actually completely create a whole different story. And we can bridge the reality of our future into the now without having to loop back in our past simultaneously. And if you are not aware of this, then you can never change it. But the good news is now you are aware of it. So as you do that, and as you take a stand and say, okay, I'm here right now, I declare and decree that this is going to manifest in my life, and it shall happen even faster than I expect. You start shifting your relationship with time, like we talked about, and you start remembering and requesting and recalibrating yourself from the inside out that time is this amazing friend, this malleable construct, this incredible piece in your toolkit that allows you to have your manifestation show up even faster than you desire. And then when you do that, and you shift your relationship with time, you're able to start to bend the time. You're able to start to have this multi-dimensional access point, which feeds into that infinity loop and creates that time loop, that convergence point in your reality, which you can choose to step your consciousness in. So you're operating from the field of infinite possibilities. And from here, deeply connected to knowing that that future manifestation is done, anchored, grounded, solidified in your reality. From here, you're able to dilate the time so your manifestation can show up even faster. And from there, you split your perception. Remember, and you have the focus point on the big goal, but simultaneously on the stepping stone goal, and you focus your energy on those 2 points. You feel what it feels like to have already manifested both of those things like that, right? And then from there, as you split your perception and it begins to accelerate because you have the stepping stone moving you towards the bigger goal, from here, you access your highest self, and that information transfer, the quantum entanglement begins to happen, where you literally begin to become at a particle vibrational level the highest version of you. You become that version. You walk and talk and think and act and be from that frequency of embodying your manifestation right here, right now, because we don't get in life what we do, but we do get who we choose to be. So this is your invitation, your permission slip, if you like, to connect with that highest version of you and bring that version of you to the table of life each and every single day. And when you do that, in order to accelerate bridging your reality, this is where you commit to embodied, aligned action. And so to close this out today, that is my last question to you. What do you now commit to from here? What are you choosing to say yes to? What are you choosing to anchor into your reality? What physical action steps? We talked about the 80%, but then there's the 20%. What do you then do in your life? Because if you keep doing the same thing and you expect a different result, Einstein said that is the definition of insanity. So this is a permission slip and an invitation to do something different. What will be that action step, that yes, that deep commitment to begin accelerating you into this next place? So guys, if you want to take a screenshot of that, that is the process that we went through today. And as we close this out, I'm going to bring Vishen back up onto the stage for this next segment. And I want you to just type through your number one word that you're feeling right now after going through all of this amazing content. Thank you for bending the time with me, by the way, as we compressed a 1 hour transmission into about half an hour. You guys are amazing, grateful, super inspired, mind blown, confident, powerful, happiness, hope, manifestation, awakened, inspired, committed. Let's go. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Reagan. And it's amazing. We still have 10,000 people live with us. So as we come to the closing chapter of this, what we want to do is we want to invite you, for those of you who are interested, to study deeper with me, Reagan, Juanpa, which is Reagan's husband, Michael Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh, Sonia Choquette, Mary Diamond. Recently, Mindvalley launched a new division of our company called Mindvalley Mastery. So obviously with Mindvalley membership, you get access to a lot of programs that you learn on your own, right? And that's wonderful. And we have millions of people who have gone through it. But we created a new division called Mindvalley Mastery to create mastery programs that put you in the top 0.1%. Our very first mastery program was AI Mastery. Surprisingly enough, it became the biggest selling program ever in Mindvalley. Now, why is that? Even though Mindvalley speaks about mind, body, spirit, the three most common occupations amongst the people here are startup founder, entrepreneur, and CEO. This is a highly educated, driven audience. Mindvalley attracts spiritual seekers, but it attracts spiritual seekers who want to do amazing things in the world. Now, our second mastery program was on real estate. Our third mastery program was on social media. And then we thought one of the most important things that creates success in life is the ability to take the ideas and visions in your head and bring in all of these tools that masters use to bring these into reality. Because I can tell you what I've been able to create with Mindvalley wasn't because of education. I never had a business education. Sure, I read books, I studied, but it was because of my mastery of my mind. And so this is what made us launch Manifesting Mastery. It's a 6-month program to turn you into a manifesting master, to put you in the 0.1% of people who can go from idea and desire to reality in record time. So what if you could experience the magic of the last couple of days, whether you were at Mindvalley Summit or you were at this highlight seminar, over 6 months, and really go deep in every single point. This is what Manifesting Mastery is about. Now, since we announced this program, more and more teachers have actually come on board and said, hey, we love what you're doing. We want to join. So Sonia Choquette, we didn't have time to update the imagery, but Sonia Choquette is one of the latest teachers. Juanpa Barahona, those of you in the Spanish Mindvalley community will know Juanpa. He is Reagan's husband, such an incredible, incredible man. He's going to be teaching as well. And we might have other teachers come in, but the program is basically 50 hours over 6 months. And that's 50 hours of training, but there will be implementation, there will be practices, and so on. So what do you learn? Okay, I'm going to rattle through the benefits really quickly. Then I'm going to give you an idea of what the program structure looks like. First, you learn the highest level principles and tools for people seeking bold results. Look, when I first studied the Silver Method, I was 14 years old. I didn't get results for almost 4 years because I read every Jose Silva book. I didn't have the right teacher. I finally started getting results when I was 17, and I managed to save up enough money. And remember, this was Malaysia. I managed to save up something like $300 to attend a Silva Method class. $300 was a lot in my country back then. The training from a live teacher was so much more profound, even though I'd read 10 different Silva books. That's when I started seeing results. Even as I got older, even today, every 6 months, I hire a world-class spiritual coach to work with me every 6 months. And these coaches charge anywhere from $2,500 a session. I typically book 10 sessions. So every 6 months, I'm spending $25,000 to learn from a living master. Marie Diamond, by the way, is one of the masters, and there are many others. I don't share the names of all of my coaches. I prefer, I want you to respect my privacy, but I want you to know how much I dedicate, not just to reading business books, but to fine tuning the energy within me. My most expensive master, I spent 100 grand in 1 year and doubled my business. So you learn some of these high level principles from me and Reagan. The thing about me and Reagan is we are great teachers and integrators. We learn from the best, and then we bring it together in a way where we are able to translate that knowledge to you. And as you guys can see, we both teach in slightly different styles, but we get results. Now, another thing you learn is timeline acceleration. So this is Reagan's domain, right? This is super exciting. How to accelerate speed to manifesting. You learn becoming magnetic. This is what I speak about. It's what Marie Diamond speak about. You learn how to just attract the right things to you. For example, in my life, every single day, magic happens. It's like I wake up and I expect the universe to unfold for me in the most beautiful way. And I get incredible offers. I get incredible speaking gigs. I don't even have to like decide on specific things anymore. I simply have a decision matrix of the life I want to lead, and the right things come to me. It's like you're a king or a queen of your kingdom. And when you wake up, you are served the most amazing buffet. Reagan, do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, once you learn these manifestation tools and techniques and you go deeper and you really come into mastery of them, like Vishen's saying, they just become a part of who you are. And it's less about every day, I'm going to do this thing or that thing, but you simply live your life in that way. And then these magical synchronicities appear to happen. But then when you track them back, you realize it's all of the tools that you've learned and integrated,
Exactly. You start embodying it. So, for example, a beginner might have to practice something like the 6 phase meditation every day. But the more you do it, the less frequently you have to do it to embody all of these principles. And what we're talking about here is embodying. This is law of resonance amplified. Okay, then you go into advanced spiritual practices. Here you learn a range of topics, from intuition to tapping into altered states, to connecting with your higher self, to connecting with spirit guides. Reagan?
Yeah, and this is really incredible. This is not just woo-woo conversations. All of this is actually backed by evidence as to what is happening within the quantum field. We went a little bit into this today, actually, in my talk that we just finished out, and just know that, we had half an hour. So imagine if you had literally hours and hours and hours on end to go deeper in. You can really get also into the science of what's actually happening.
And what Reagan does and what I do, and Marie and Sonia and Michael, is activations, right? If you guys have ever attended Reiki works like this. I'm a level 2 Reiki student, but you get activated by the Reiki master. And then that spiritual energy of healing is able to flow through you. Reagan does activations really well. So you're not just learning at a conscious level, your energy system is being activated. We can't explain how it works, but spiritual traditions dating back thousands of years work like this. You also learn this important thing. Crap will still happen to you. Okay? Beckwith talks about Kensho moments. Every now and then, stubbornness will grip you, and you will do something out of alignment of your soul. And the universe will break something in your life so that you can bounce back. The more you tap into intuition, by the way, the less frequent you learn how to bounce back. Many of you are going through distressing situations. Just looking at the world today, I was talking to a friend recently, and a startup he'd been working on for 15 years just collapsed. And now he has to give up a 15-year project and go back into the workforce. Shit happens. How do you bounce back and become greater than ever before? This is a very important skill. Next, intuition. I'll be speaking about this. I will teach you. So we actually, for this program, we actually license work from the Silva Method Institute, which is run by Jose Silva's children. And we'll be bringing Silva Method principles into here as well to activate intuition. Sonia Choquette will also be teaching this. Then mastery of your thoughts and emotions. So you are on point. You have mastered emotions, mastered thought. I'm a very predictable person because I'm always in a good mood. Reagan, what would you add to this one?
Yeah, this is so important. You know, we touched on it today, guys. If you're wanting to shift the time, if you're wanting for something to manifest even faster, what's important is your vibrational state and your emotional resonance behind that. Now, most people are really unconscious to their emotional state and their vibrational frequency. They don't know where it's at and they don't know how to change it. But once you learn this, you realize you can literally charge up your manifestations so that that amount of money can show up faster, or you can scale your company to that place, or you can shift the weight that you're wanting to lose, or you can manifest your soulmate. You can apply this in any area, but you need to know actually practically how to do it through the emotional and frequency resonance.
Yeah. And finally, karmic realignment. Okay, so here's some crazy stuff. I told you I work with Marie Diamond, and I told you Marie has worked with people like Big Sean. One of the things Marie Diamond does is she works with past lives. There's so much scientific evidence right now for past lives. She works with past lives. We're not talking here about karma the way it's described in Eastern traditions. I disagree with that model, as does Neil Donald Walsh. What we're talking about here is understanding how to align your soul's purpose as well as beliefs that you may have taken in past lives that are affecting you today, how to fix that, operate that, and then be aligned with who you want to be. Reagan, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, and this is also where, you know, the unconscious information from the family field comes in. And, you know, if you have a scenario that's playing out in your life and you feel like you can't shift past it, like you keep manifesting the same amount of money or the same type of relationship, or you keep hitting the same limit with your health and you just can't go to that next level, it's usually because this is happening and people just don't understand how to recognize it and then what to actually do to shift it and to move forward.
And finally, unleashing your body's energy. Many people who go through this program, you will start feeling your natural body energy. You will start having Kundalini awakenings. You will start being able to feel your chakras pulsating. You will viscerally feel things in your body. And this is a really healthy sign. When you start understanding that we are not just physical matter, your belief and your expectancy accelerates. And then supercharge your manifestation with life group energy. There's a very powerful principle here called group manifesting. And we're going to be teaching this to you as well. The people joining this program, we've opened up 800 seats, 690 seats have been taken. So we have 110 seats left. You're going to learn how to work together in a group to work on manifesting projects related to healing, business growth, success, spiritual awakenings. Reagan, would you like to share on this?
Yeah, there's just so much evidence out there that when two or more people get together and focus manifestation energy, miracles can occur. And again, this is not some woo-woo concept. This is proven and backed. And if you know the system on how to do this, you can just accelerate everything so quickly.
Okay, so now here's what it looks like. The program starts Monday, March 25th. So it starts pretty soon. There'll be a welcome call. Me and Reagan will welcome all of the students. We'll go through the agenda. We'll kind of get to know each other. And then it kicks off with over the next 50 sessions over 6 months. So the program ends in September. Now, why is it stretched out for 6 months? Guys, this is some deep, heavy stuff. We cannot give this to you. We cannot compress these 50 hours into a month. It's stretched out over 6 months because your body needs time to integrate. You need time for awakenings. There's going to be spiritual practices. You know, so many people tell me, hey, can you recommend a spiritual retreat? I want to go and do one of those like 12-day, like shut up in silence and pray type things. I never recommend that stuff. I believe that is false spirituality. Spirituality is not about disappearing into an ashram and resigning from the world and just going within. I think that's selfish. I believe in the concept of the spiritual badass. Spirituality to me is basically being able to master who you are as a soul so you can go out there and not just be a Buddha, but be a freaking badass, build businesses, change the world, raise money for charity, help bring spiritual values to politics. That's what we're looking for. So those of you who want a silent retreat, and if that's your thing, great. But I can tell you that here, you will have a far greater awakening of your spirituality. Everything that you hope to get from that silent retreat, mastery of your emotions, connecting the source, you will get. But you will have a fire awakened within you to get out there and shake and rattle the world. Now, key highlights. So we're going to show you some of the things we're going to be covering week by week. Okay, now we have 25 weeks. We're not going to go through everything, but we'll talk about some key highlights. Week 2, soul blueprint activation. Reagan?
Yeah, so I think we all know everyone has a soul. Well, you also have a soul blueprint, and within this blueprint is a lot of really useful information regarding your life purpose, your mission, why you're here, how to generate more money, how to create a company that's in an alignment for you, how to be at the best health, whatever it is that's there, it's actually sitting there. But most people don't understand how to access this body of information and then how to activate it so you can actually then embody it and start changing your life. So we give you all the tools and processes and activations to go through that. And when you do that, you really just tap into higher synchronicity in your life. Things become easier and you get in greater flow.
Week 4, rewriting your family lineage. Reagan?
Also super, super important. We touched on this earlier. Sometimes when things are playing out in your life and you feel you don't know why that same thing keeps showing up, it's because it's in your system from your family. Now, if we go into the study of epigenetics, we actually see that all of this information 7 generations back is encoded within your cells and within your DNA. And that can be stuck traumas, old stuck emotions, things that happened in the past that were never shifted. And so then this comes to surface in your life so that you can shift it and move forward. But if you're not aware of it, people start looping on all of this. And so this is how, for example, myself and Wampa have worked with our son, Daniel. You know, he's now 18 years old, but yeah, when he was, I think 15, he was featured in Forbes, he'd written 3 books and he's doing his work, but a lot of it is also the family generational work, right?
So check this out. So this is Reagan's stepson. So Huanpa, when they got married, Huanpa had a son. He's only 17 years old, traveled to 20 countries. This was an article in Forbes magazine about their kid. 17, traveled to 20 countries, wrote 3 books to help young people live what they love. When you learn this, you will pass this wisdom on to your children. So when I bring in teachers in Mindvalley, I look at what's their circle, and are they creating a healthy impact on their circle? And that's one of the reasons I really have faith in Reagan's work. Week 5, activating intuition. Ooh, I can't wait to teach you this one. So Jose Silva developed a predictable protocol to activate intuition. At the end of a Silva seminar, I would put people together and you would be given the name, age, gender, and location of someone unknown to you. That's all you get: name, age, gender, and location. You go into an altered state and you're able to sense things about that person when you set your heart with the intention of giving them love and healing. And now when you do this around 50 times, so it takes a while, 50 times, it's around 10 minutes per time, what we find is that the student develops waking intuition. This is when you have an inner voice that just guides you. So I have waking intuition. I can make decisions really fast because I just know. And there's a high correlation on intuition and business success. Steve Jobs spoke about his approach like this. He says, your mind slows down. You see a tremendous expanse in the moment. You see so much more than you could see before. It's a discipline. You have to practice it. This has huge impact in your business. You know, one of the ways I first got into this field is that I was in sales. And when I was 26, I was doing sales for a company in San Francisco, and I sucked in sales, right? And so back then we used the yellow pages. So around this time, I took the advanced Silva program, Silva Ultramind. And that program was all about waking intuition. Now, because I'd practiced Silva before, I was able to activate it really fast. Everyone else would call every number on the yellow pages. I would just go into my altered state, run my finger down the page, and know who to call. Overnight, I doubled my sales. I became, with no experience in sales, I was a computer engineer. I became the top salesperson in the company with 0 experience in sales. I was made vice president at 27. And my boss told me, what are you doing? And I said, I think they call it ESP. And he goes, nah, that's bullshit. But can you keep doing it? It was unreal. But this is how powerful intuition is. Again, there's a whole book on the scientific research of this, Executive ESP. Intuition will change the course of your career. All right, week 6, quantum jumping. You guys heard of quantum jumping? Quantum jumping is a word I coined for the methodology developed by my late friend, Bert Goldman. So I work with many masters, many of whom no longer exist. I've been doing this for 20 years, but Goldman passed away in 2017. He was a protege of Paramahansa Yogananda and Jose Silva. Bert developed a methodology to help you project your awareness to versions of you in multiple dimensions, in multiple realities. In another reality, there's a billionaire version of you. In another reality, there's a doctor version of you. In another reality, there's a hyper-confident version of you. In another reality, it's a Casanova version of you. You project into these realities and you absorb the resonant frequency of that version of you. In 2008, we launched quantum jumping. It became a hit. And then we paused it for a while as we were working on other things, and quantum jumping took off on its own. If you search for quantum jumping on TikTok, you will see 25.4 million views. Sadly, very few people here acknowledge that Bert Goldman created it, but they are talking about the same thing, right? But Mindvalley's quantum jumping program, which you have access to on Mindvalley membership, is the official quantum jumping. Much of what I see on TikTok is a little bit off the mark, though I appreciate people talking about it. You will learn quantum jumping the right way. I mastered this with Bert. We started teaching classes together. That was the first class we started teaching together in 2009. And I will be teaching you quantum jumping. Now, week 7, sacred geometry. Reagan?
Yeah, so this is where we go into the structure of your reality, right? Because everything is made up of frequency, which is wave patterns. And if we go into the wave patterns, they have a geometric form. So we teach you how to recognize what geometry is actually set up through your system right now, because most people have outdated geometries. And when you learn how to run the updates through your energetic system, you start bringing every layer of your being into coherence. Because manifestation is not just what you think. It's not just your emotions. It's not just your physical body. We also need your energetic field to come into resonance and coherence so that you are operating as one system that is becoming an energetic match for what you're looking to call in. So I'm super excited to teach you guys this. This isn't being taught anywhere else.
Week 10, it's about you and the universe. It's understanding the nature of your godlike nature and going deep into what this means for who you are, your desires, your choices, and so on. Week 11, karmic realignment. We touched on this a bit when I mentioned what Marie Diamond teaches, but understanding and transcending karmic patterns for manifesting. Regan, anything you'd like to add on these?
Yeah, we went a little bit deeper into that, but again, just know that this is so useful if you're hitting these blocks and you feel like you've been trying to manifest something and it's just not showing up. There's huge pieces here to help you unlock that.
Week 12, higher self manifesting acceleration. Regan?
Yes, so we touched on this just before when I was sharing with you guys. So we go a lot deeper. I probably had about 5 minutes to teach you some of those concepts versus going in for a good couple of hours and getting you fully connected to the highest version of you that's already manifested what you desire, and then using quantum entanglement at a particle level to get the future particles impacting your now particles so you can be that version of you, so that then your reality, which is it's a reflection, starts to reflect back the manifestations that you desire. So you can use this again in any area of your life, and it's one of the biggest manifestation accelerators.
And then in week 13, we go into remote influence mastery. This is remote viewing. Many people don't know this, but Mindvalley used to run the #1 remote viewing website. This is being able to perceive information across time and distance. It's a wild skill. Week 14, altered states of consciousness. You learn to go into alpha, theta, and not only that, but delta. This is a really, really key thing. Many people believe that you manifest at alpha and theta and the delta frequency is only for sleep. But no, Jose Silva developed a technique called the mental video technique, where when you're asleep, okay, you program your soul to communicate with higher intelligence to solve problems for you when these problems cannot be solved by just your pure consciousness. It's delta manifesting, and it is crazy, crazy powerful. So it's you're literally working on manifesting while you're asleep. But of course, you do the preparation work for it in the morning and at night just before falling asleep. You will learn this technique. Week 16, time bending. Regan mentioned this one.
This is so
Week
huge,
19,
guys. Again, yeah. No, I was just going to say, this is really the difference between an amateur manifester and someone who becomes a master manifester, because then it's not a question of will it happen anymore, it's when will it happen. And if you understand how to alter the when, then you can make anything in your life just speed up even faster.
And then week 19 is mind-body healing. Here we bring in imagery therapy. I shared with you some of the statistics from the Jose Silva system. You learn, so the technique I use to heal my skin, the technique I use to I'm 48, but I feel like my health-wise, I'm around 35. The technique I use to slow down my aging, you learn all of that. You learn how to accelerate your healing ability. And I tend to heal twice as fast as normal human beings. I will show you how to do that as well, how to accelerate healing, not just for yourself, but for others. Week 20, morphic resonance.
So Whatever you're looking to manifest, there is a group of people that have already done that in the past in some way, shape, or form. And we show you how to tap into and use morphic fields of information, which, if you like, are clusters of information through the energetic field, and through specific processes, tools, and activations, you're able to access the information of people that have already manifested what you want. So you can download that. So then it changes completely your decision making. What you say yes to, what you say no to, how you scale your company, what that next move is, the team member you hire, the personal trainer that you hire, all of that would impact once you understand that you have the morphic resonant fields to actually support you. This is a superpower that only really some of the highest level people in the world have, and you guys will have access to it in the program.
Amazing. Week 21, quantum manifesting hacks.
Again, this is a whole toolkit of just making everything go faster. So when you're at this point in week 21, you're going to have a lot of tools and theories underneath your belt, and you're going to be seeing a lot of shifts and changes in your life. And so this is a lot of principles using quantum physics in order to simply, okay, everything's coming and it's working. Now, how do we accelerate it? How do we allow the time to bend even faster? And it's almost like when you activate this, it feels like miracles are happening in your life. From the outside looking in, people might say like, wow, that almost seems impossible, or that's a miracle. How did you do that in such a short period of time? But it's very intentional. It's not some woo-woo miracle. Instead, you know it's because of these specific tools that you're using.
All right. Now, I want to show you some really crazy stuff. So one of the things I've done with my life is I've traveled across the world, studied with many masters. And one of the people I studied with was this lady, Helen Hadsell. She was known as the witch in Texas in a good way, because she would win anything that she set her mind on. This was an article about her. She won $250,000 in prizes because she could buy she would know what lottery ticket to buy, or she would buy a sweepstakes and her number would get called. She would walk into a room and she would just, like at a church lottery bingo or whatever, and she would just win. These were all articles about Helen. And she developed a model for this. Now, what many people don't know is that Helen Hadsell was Jose Silva's PR manager. She learned this from Jose. Now, I never got to meet Jose Silva. He passed away in 1999. I first came to the US in 1995, but I didn't get a chance to meet him. But I went to spend time with Helen. I created a documentary about her. All the footage you see of Helen on the web, I actually filmed that. And I stayed with her and I learned from her. She developed a technique called SPEC, Select, Project, Expect, Collect, which is beautiful. You will learn some of these techniques as well. So I'm going to be bringing to you lineages, practices from masters that had such a profound impact on my life. Bert Goldman, Helen Hadsell. Helen passed away, I think in like 2011 or so. But their souls are so beautiful. And I feel that their work, it's so important to spread. So I don't want to just keep this to myself. I want to teach this. And this is why I'm really excited about bringing this to the program. Week 22, the manifestation matrix.
So this is really important. This is where we come into identity hacking, and we start to actually access different versions of yourself in order to embody them in a much deeper way, because we don't get in life what we do, but we do get who we choose to be. And we have complete control over that beingness. We have complete control to be able to go, you know what, I'm going to bring a different version of me to the table. And then when you do that, life starts responding back to you in a different way. I teach this deeply, and Vishen is also amazing at teaching identity hacking.
Amazing. And then we go on to business manifesting mastery. All right, now, how do you bring this all to business? So when I teach this to entrepreneurs that I mentor, they're typically able to double the speed of execution in their business, because what happens is manifesting is the ultimate business tool. So what often could take someone 3 months, they're now able to do in 1 or 2 months. And the reason they are able to do this is because, wait, who is that? Reagan? Is that Juanpa? Who's that half naked man? Just appeared. I think that's Reagan's husband who accidentally got on camera. That is hilarious. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you, Juanpa. So, I can't believe that happened. Okay, so you're going to learn how to accelerate manifesting in your business. All right, now how the program works, okay? It's 6 months of training by leading teachers. I've mentioned the teachers. We didn't have time to upgrade the graphics because more and more teachers are coming to us, but Sonia Choquette, Juanpa, who was the half-naked man you saw, he's such a great teacher. Juanpa is a force on stage. Many of you saw him live in Miami. He teaches embodiment, masculine, feminine energy, and I'm really embodying that. Okay, it's 2 hours a week. So 2 hours is the amount of time you spend learning with us. But remember, there's additional time that you will spend. Now you're going to replace some of your regular meditation practices, some of your regular like health or healing practices. So you don't have to spend too much inordinate time, but we're going to fine tune all of these. But so just keep in mind, it's 2 hours a week of lectures. Very, very often we will stay back for an extra 15 to 20 minutes to answer Q&A. But as long as you block out an hour for each session, you're good, okay? The Q&A, you can always watch it on the replay. Now, and it's very community driven. So this is why we keep it to 800 people. It's a community. Everyone is connected in a community software where all the students share notes with each other, share victories with each other, and share, at the end of it, we actually have a manifesting success party where people share their biggest manifesting. Why Mindvalley? There are many other spiritual tools out there, but Mindvalley at this point is the #1 transformation platform in the world. Naveen Jain, the iconic American entrepreneur, said, we are building the Harvard or Stanford of our time. Zain Asher on CNN featured Mindvalley, saying that it is the most effective transformation platform and saying that it honestly changed her life. And if you go to stories.mindvalley.com, you will see we have 21,000 case studies you can browse. 21,000. We don't pay for these case studies. We don't compensate anyone. You know, typically 1% of customers will leave a case study. And so there's 21,000, it's 1%. It's probably like a ton more, right? 2 million, but incredible stories of people whose lives have changed because of the methodology we bring in. Now, again, it starts Monday, March 25th, 2 hours a week, 6 months, okay? The curriculum looks like this, month by month: awakening your manifesting power, mastering quantum manifesting, navigating karmic patterns, time manipulation, acceleration, and we've given you kind of a week-by-week flow. Now, there are 2 parts to the program. Some of you may feel 6 months is way too much to me. I want to do 4 months. That's okay. There's a lower price for 4 months and then a higher price for 6 months, okay? So 4 months covers awakening your manifesting power, quantum manifesting, navigating karmic patterns, time manipulation. And then if you do the 6-month version, you go a little bit deeper. You learn accelerating your manifesting, and you learn reality shifting and vibrational frequency tuning. And everything that we spoke about falls into all 6 of these buckets. You know, we're dealing with stuff here that is so new, so fresh. So we don't have common wordings for it. So excuse us if sometimes you hear wordings that feel a little bit like fluffy. It's just that we don't have that common language. But as we're building this program, we're hoping to create this common language. Different spiritual teachers use different words for it. Ticket of completion. Many people love these. And the most important thing is you master your mind's ability to shape your future. And it is the most powerful skill you can learn. Okay, now, here's how it works. There are 2 pathways. Level 1, the foundations, is 32 lessons. Level 2, advanced, is 50 lessons. 32 lessons in 4 months or 50 lessons in 6 months. Now, level 1 foundations is $6,999. Level 2 advanced is $9,999. So you can decide. We teach this program, we limit it to 800 people. We've already sold 690 seats, so we have 110 available seats. And because this is so much hands-on, me and Reagan and Sonia and Marie, we are teaching hands-on. We do this program once a year. Given how fast the seats sold out, we know we will repeat it next year. But the question is, do you want to wait a year, right? It'll repeat next year, but we only do it once a year. Now, I want to tell you this. There are 2 different choices, but I like to make things super easy. So rather than you think and decide, should you have level 1 or level 2, we're going to make it easy for you. What we're going to do is, if you get any pathway, you get the second one free. So if you want 4 months, take 4 months, you'll get the extra 6 months free. So if you suck at math, pick the 4-month one. So invest in level 1 and you'll get level 2, no extra cost. Okay, so you might as well just do the full thing. Okay, and we're also going to include a couple of bonuses. You get recordings of all calls. We know for some of you, the calls might be at late at the night. That's okay. We'll have recordings available for you. And these recordings will be up for 1 year after the end of the program. So recordings will be up till September 2025. And then you get action guides. So in many cases, we will give you step-by-step PDFs, downloads. Sometimes the action guide is actually a meditation, something that you listen to, but things to help you process, learn as you go along. Okay, so 50 live calls, certificate, access to the community, 1 year of recordings, action guides. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to lower the tuition price. So it's $5,999. Okay, and level 2 is included. We want to make this a no-brainer. Remember, I've spent $100,000 in a given year working with a manifesting coach to accelerate my business. And I just completed another $25,000 3-month program for $25K with another manifesting coach, because I love learning all of these skills, because to me as a CEO, this is the most important thing. And the transformations I'm seeing are worth it. We're giving you profound knowledge for $5,999. For my sessions, I'm paying the equivalent of about $2,500 an hour. Here you're paying the equivalent of about $120 an hour. Okay, so what we're going to do is special discount for attendees of this event is $5,999. We have 800 seats. 690 students have joined. There are 110 seats available. It'll sell out in the next day or so. Now, when we open up programs like this in Mindvalley, we always do airline pricing, right? So the earlier you buy a seat on an airline helps the airline sell the flight. It helps make the airline more profitable. So the earlier you buy, the cheaper it is. So our first 500 seats for $4,999, that's sold out in just a matter of days. Our next 200 seats are $5,999, but we only have 10 left. And then you go for the regular pricing, we have 100 seats at $6,999. Now, the last thing I want to do is make you guys feel like we're kind of pushing you guys to sign up and hustle right now for these 10 seats. But we did say that we're only going to keep 200 seats at $599. But what we will do is we'll just keep the $5,999 open in the next 24 hours or until we hit 800 seats, okay? Which will happen probably in a day or so. So anyone enrolling in 24 hours, you'll be able to still get this price. You don't have to worry about this 10 seats left. But we do cap the program at 800. That's just the way we do mastery. We like attention to students. We like smaller groups. And it's a really beautiful community. Okay, so special price of $5,999 for 24 hours. Then the tuition goes up to $6,999. 6-month payment plan is available. And we find that around 20% of our students like a payment plan. That's perfectly fine. And to join, this is all you got to do. Just screenshot that QR code. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I hope you got a glimpse of what the program covers. And take that QR code. We'll also send you an email with the link. And I look forward to hearing from you, seeing you in Manifesting Mastery. Thank you so much, folks.
Let me just add one thing. I have no idea how Wampa somehow appeared on the Zoom, but I am back. We like to highlight Mindvalley authors half naked, apparently, right at the end of these sessions. Guys, it's been amazing. It's been amazing tuning in with you. I just want to say I saw a couple of questions just around the manifesting quest. So just know that if you have done the quest, my quest on manifestation on the Mindvalley platform, this is really great as a next step. There's not going to be duplicated, repeated content. It's completely different. Now, if you haven't done the quest and you want to jump straight into the mastery program, you can come straight in and do that. You don't need the quest in order to pick up everything we're going to be diving into here. So wherever you're at is perfect to dive in. And it's really an honor to be guiding you guys through this with all these amazing teachers. And I'm just so excited. A massive congratulations to everyone who's doing this work.
Our mastery degrees are really like university micro degrees, right? Like our AI mastery degree was a $10,000 degree and it's sold out, $10,000 and it's sold out. And in 6 months, people transform their business and they learn to become a chief AI evangelist. And we were looking at hot job skills, real estate trading, social media mastery. But then we thought manifesting should be a skill. Like, why wait 10 years from now when companies are teaching this to their employees? We want to be at the forefront. And so we are making manifesting the hot new business skill. And I think this is the way it should be. And so this is not in any way woo-woo. You know my style. You know Reagan's style. We actually get results. Me and Reagan were just speaking about how many spiritual communities that we, or or festivals or stuff that we join have a broke mentality. We don't like that. Spirituality isn't about being broke. Spirituality isn't about resigning from the world. It isn't about like chanting in kumbaya. It is about actually being able to tap into your godlike powers to change the world for the better. That's what we teach. And this is going to be the hot new business skill of the future. So manifesting mastery, it's the world's first fully comprehensive 6-month micro degree on becoming, on the act of bending reality. And I cannot wait to have you in the program. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much.
Reagan, we have a couple of questions. Is it okay if we stay back 10 minutes to answer?
Of course, absolutely.
So Lali asks, is this program available in Espanol? Unfortunately, no, Lali. If you have Mindvalley membership, a lot of our top programs, Silva, Ultramind, Art of Manifesting, are available in Spanish. So Mindvalley membership is, but our mastery programs, unfortunately, not all our teachers speak Spanish. So we couldn't deliver it in Spanish. And then Charlene asked, why do we get to keep it for 1 year? What if we want to go back every year to keep it fresh? I think you're right, Charlene. Very likely, for programs like AI, we made it available for 1 year because the field changes so fast. But here we are teaching spiritual truths. So I think I will make a call and I will keep that program available. And again, you can download it, right? So even if we are taking it down, you can download it. So don't worry about it. You will have access to the recordings.
There's a few questions
Someone
here
asked,
as well, Vishen. Vishen, just a couple of questions on the free gift. Guys, this is going to be emailed to you. You registered for this, so we're going to email this out to you. You will have access to it, so don't worry. That's going to hit your inbox as promised.
Right. So someone said, what is the difference between this and the existing Art of Manifesting course on Mindvalley by Reagan?
So this is a lot deeper. This is a lot more advanced, right? And also what's amazing with this program is it's not just me. We're pulling in all these different teachers. You're going to be learning from Vishen. You're going to be learning from Michael Beckwith, from Marie, from Sonia, from Harper, all of these amazing teachers. So it's much more holistic in the sense that we're coming from this from every single angle, but then also the teachings are much more advanced and there's a lot more time. This is over a much longer period of time versus the actual time we had to deliver that content in the quest. Yeah, so there are a couple of things that happen when you're doing a session like this. One is the group effect, sometimes called the Maharishi effect. So groups of people working together on a similar spiritual purpose tend to elevate each other. Secondly, the teachers are all live. Everything about this program is live, and there's a power in live from the teachers. All the teachers are there teaching live, not their assistants. I'm teaching, Reagan is teaching. All the teachers are teaching live. So you're learning from the genuine masters, okay? Someone said, would you repeat this program? Yes, given how well it's sold, it'll sell out in the next 24 to 48 hours. Given how powerful the program, the response has been, given 10,000 of you sold out and we maximized our Zoom, we will most definitely be repeating it in March 2025. But again, the question is, do you want to wait 1 year? How much are you gonna miss out on in this next 1 year? Why not join today? Yes, classes, Jonathan asked, does it always happen at a fixed time? Yes, classes always happen at a fixed time. And Jonathan said, I work, it's 11 a.m. in NYC. Sadly, Jonathan, yes. So what people do is today in the age of remote work, people have a lot more flexibility. Many people, when they are attending these programs, speak to their boss and ask their boss if they can get that hour off. So that they can, because they're going for training. This is ultimately going to make you better at work. We've actually never found that companies were resistant to it because you're investing in your own training, and this is really going to help your work. But if you absolutely cannot be there because you have a work meeting, the recording is available, and the recordings are extremely useful as well. There's a question here also on payment plans. I believe the payment plans are actually on the link, guys. If you go through, scan the QR code and click the link, you'll see the payment plan options there too.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. It is so good to be sharing all this wisdom with you. I'll see you in the program. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Ciao.